So what the heck were they using?
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to LTMB Live. Let the madness begin. As always, I'm Will Gaillard.
And I'm Mike White.
What's going on? Yeah, we were a little bit late tonight. We kind of did the stream a little bit differently.
You know what happens when we try to stuff new, man.
I know, right?
You know what man. You just
always in for some trouble, right?
We're just begging for a disaster, man.
Yeah, because we created an event, so it's just working a little bit differently, but I think we are able to be seen and heard. Let's get some confirmation on that.
Yeah, we gotta get some straight up confirmation.
Yeah,
because this don't even look the same.
Yeah,
it doesn't even look the same, man.
I saw somebody say the picture was taken away, so
yeah, I'm not even sure what that means.
Yeah, maybe we missed a step or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. What's going on, people on Facebook? Thank you for being with us on this Thursday evening. All right.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
We hear you. No echoes or anything. We look good. Everything's all right.
Shit, I know we look good.
I know. You know. You got the nice
threads
on and stuff. All right, sound good. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is a little bit different on our end. So.
Yeah, this just looks completely different. I'm not sure why it would look different anyway. I don't even see the super chat stats.
Said all three of us look good. I'm supposing that's a joke. Unless we got a ghost up in here or something.
No, unless somebody is watching the show while they're smoking on something.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we're just gonna give it just a few more seconds, let some people, make their way on in.
Yeah, that's weird because I don't see. I know it has a little tab for analytics, but it does not.
Yeah.
Still doesn't show the super chat.
I don't know what this part right here.
Which is something I don't want to miss because we don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want to shout out people who do submit the super chat.
I guess we just.
It says open in a new. See, you got to open in a new window.
In a new window.
Now we can see it come through.
Oh. Okay. Well, at least we can
be able
still
to see it.
Yeah, Matthew already.
Matthew Michaels.
That's right. Who is a patron on Patreon as well. Thank you very much, Matthew.
He quick on the super chat trigger.
Exactly.
Before anybody even got here.
Exactly. Appreciate that, man. All right, let's get to work. Okay, so Tuesday night was primary night, and in Georgia, we talked about this late on the show on Tuesday night, but the candidate in the Democratic primary, Stacey Abrams, for governor, she mollywopped Stacey Evans. It was a landslide victory. I think she like 75% of the vote, something like that.
75%.
It was a total annihilation. I did not expect it to be that massive, even though she was leading in the polls that were taken prior to the actual
and their platforms
primary.
were pretty similar.
Very similar.
Not a lot of distance between them in that regard.
Nah, so I didn't expect that at all. But so she is now the candidate for the she's now the nominee for the Democratic Party for governor in Georgia, and she'll be facing Casey Cagle, who is the lieutenant governor, and he won his primary in the Republican race. So they will be squaring off in November, and hey, I'm pulling for, I'm pulling for Abrams to pull, to win that race. It's going to be very tough.
Yeah, we already talked about the issue with voter participation and how Republicans are outpacing Democrats, but the gap is kind of closed every 4 years.
Yeah,
like 100,000 each year.
Yeah, I think with all these red states, even in the South. Things are slowly, becoming, I guess, more progressive, more liberal.
Or just more desperate.
something. But yeah, I mean, she definitely has a chance, and she's going to need a lot of support in that race. So
she'd be the first black governor.
Yeah. Not just in Georgia, but in the whole United States of America. So, again, this is something to keep an eye on. In Texas, in Texas's 7th district, Laura Moser, she lost her runoff primary race against Lizzie Pennell Fletcher. So Moser was the candidate that was smeared by the DCCC, painting her as like a carpetbagger. So... she only came out like a few points below in the in the first race, but because Fletcher didn't get 50% of the vote, then they had the runoff, and but this time around Fletcher easily dispatched of Moser, so that's disappointing, but whatever. All right, so in Kentucky's 6th district, Amy McGrath won. Now, we haven't talked about Amy McGrath before, and the only reason that I'm highlighting her this time is that she was a CIA Democrat. Okay, and so we've talked about this.
You might have to give some background.
Yeah, there was an article that was on this website talking about CIA Democrats. Supposedly, there were 57 Democrats running that
during
either
the midterms has CIA
or intelligence background, something like that. And Amy McGrath was on that list. Amy McGrath is a former Marine fighter pilot. That's the extent to her background.
Her intelligence background. So, yeah. So she won her race, and now she's going to be squaring off against... actually, I don't know who she's going to be squaring off. I forgot but she won her race against Jim Gray, who's the mayor of Lexington. So... McGrath, now, like I said, we were very, very critical of that article, the, CIA Democrat article. But McGrath isn't somebody that actually, like, energizes me or, she's like a so-so candidate. She says that she wants universal health coverage, like that she's supportive of it, but she's not supportive of single payer. She's supportive of, like, the ACA and fixing the ACA, whatever that means. We've heard that before. She's a proponent of the public option of the, the ACA. So she's that type of Democrat that, she doesn't want radical change. She wants incremental change. That's what type of Democrat she is. So it's not somebody that I, really support, but she's also not a CIA Democrat. That's still not enough for you. That's still not enough for you, though. The fact that she's not CIA operative.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's, whatever. She's not even really supportive of legalizing marijuana either. She's like this incrementalist where she's like, she wants to deschedule it because descheduling it will allow research and studies to be conducted on marijuana.
What you mean is,
so she doesn't want to go full throttle.
Basically, she kind of wants this probably a grace period, so
maybe big pharma can get in on, get in on it. You know what I'm saying?
It's possible. It's possible. Let's see what else. Man, I've been seeing the steady streams of images coming from Hawaii, from the volcano, the Kilauea volcano.
Yo,
it looks fake.
You know what?
The lava spurting out. It looks fake as can be.
It looks CGI.
Yeah.
It's so like I saw some footage where I think they estimated that it was being I guess projected into the air like 100 feet. Some cases like 50, 75. On average, it was like 30, 40 feet. But I saw some estimates where lava was being ejected into the air out of the ground at 100 feet. But yeah, it looks like if you look at some of these aerial footage, yeah, it looks like CGI, some movie.
I know,
like with the rivers of fire.
It's insane, man. Like there's some steady cameras, and they just are pointed right at it, and it's a fountain, and it just looks fake as can be. But there's more evacuations. People are getting out of there. So man, whoever's out there, man, be safe, man. Just stay out of the way of harm, man. I don't know if there's any telling when it's gonna stop, man. Like when this whole period is gonna stop. So. Dire situation, man. Today, President Trump granted a posthumous pardon to Jack Johnson, who was boxing's first black heavyweight champion. So in 1913, he was convicted under the Mann Act for taking his white girlfriend across state lines. So the Mann Act, the primary intention for the Mann Act was to address prostitution and human trafficking. But it also included language like, or for any other immoral purpose. So, of course, when a black man in 1913 has a white woman with him across state lines,
that's immoral in itself.
That's an immoral
without
purpose.
Crossing state lines. Yes. That was immoral.
Yes, very immoral. So, yeah, he got that charge hooked on him. I believe he spent a year in prison because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think it would have been an issue if he wasn't a boxer. I think maybe, but I think the simple fact that he was like beating everybody up, like he would,
he had celebrity.
He had celebrity.
Hey,
and he wasn't
black celebrity.
He was not modest.
No,
I mean
he had a mouth.
He had a mouth. He loved the cars. He loved his clothes. He was boastful, man.
And in 1913, he was bold enough to be with a white woman too. So yeah, they got him. Yeah, for at least for a year. I mean, luckily he didn't get lynched. Because that could have easily happened. But yeah, so he's been pardoned. It's still interesting that it hadn't happened before because it has been talked about before. And Barack Obama, the last president, he had a chance to do it, but he declined to take that opportunity.
You know what it would have? See, that's the only problem. The problem I have with Obama is. I think a lot of his half-assedness was based on how he felt he could appeal to the other side and how he would,
reaching across the aisle.
You know what I'm saying? Because
from the get-go, man. He walked into office like that.
The other side of the aisle, they viewed him as like Malcolm X or some shit. Like
very radical.
Very radical to him. Like to us, he's just like some centrist, a normal centrist. But to them, anything that's not right wing is Malcolm X. So they thought he was just like this militant. Mm-hmm. So if he would have done that, oh my gosh!
Like the explanations that I saw, it really like what I got from it is that it seemed like he didn't want to appear to be like that black. That's what I got from it. I didn't see anything that was reasonable. I didn't see anything, man.
But that's weak.
It is weak. It's definitely weak, man.
Because it doesn't.
If you're real, then just do what you have to do.
Because
right?
At the end of the day, it actually doesn't matter what he would have done. If he's just talking about how he socially looks or politically looks,
right?
He should have just like gone full leftist. Because he's going to be seen as
Malcolm X anyway.
He's going to be seen as Malcolm X anyway. So he's just being weak socially in the same way he was being weak politically
for 8
his
years.
Entire 8 years, man. So.
Yeah. 2 Tuna Loaf, better
known as Taco Lizard, Tummy Larva,
Teriyaki Lentils.
Teriyaki Lentils.
That's a favorite.
That's my favorite of mine. Yeah. Also known as Turtle Lotion.
Or by her, I guess, government name.
Her government name.
Yeah, Tommy Loren. She suffered a very traumatic event a few days ago. It was Saturday in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She had water thrown on her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a traumatic event. She was at like a restaurant. And she walked in. She was with her mother, I believe, and somebody, saw her. And there's some video of it that's been going around. I've seen it on Twitter, and it just shows. It was a woman, and took a cup and just threw some water on her. It was a bad throw too. I mean, I think it just caught her arm. So I mean,
it grazed her. She got grazed by water, and Fox News had her on to talk about this traumatic experience,
man.
Like she was just victimized by this water.
And then you have, it's not just conservatives, Republicans that are defending her. It's people that are liberal too. Like, oh, that it's unacceptable. And I'm not gonna condone people throwing things at each other just because she has some ridiculous objectionable language. I wouldn't do it because that's a useless thing.
That's not my style.
Please, I'll throw her a mean mug or something like that, but I'm not throwing something at her. But do I care? Nah, she got water thrown on her. She's not a sympathetic figure. I don't care about this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like anybody on the other side who is just trying to jump to this kind of respectability politics is just doing that so because they feel that there's something on us now. There's not. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not a situation where you show sympathy.
Nah.
Essentially, it's just of course who she is and how she thinks. She's going to see this as some sort of opportunity to pile on to the other side and not actually look at herself to see that she kind of generates this attitude towards her. She doesn't look at anything she says as something to be shameful about.
This is a woman that compared Black Lives Matter to the KKK. She's not a sympathetic
This is
figure.
somebody who doesn't have any sympathy for people who are actually being abused, people who are actually being assaulted, people who are actually being snatched up, like the story we did last week with the dude who spent 5 months in jail because he just posted some rhetoric on Facebook and he was at a Black Lives Matter protest. He got scooped up. There's people actually out there going through things, but she thinks she's supposed to. Not only are there people out there who are going through things, she has shown outright disdain for those people who are actually going through things. But she gets a little water thrown on her and we have to the world has to stop. Get out of here. Turkey Lego will be okay.
Turkey Lego. That one don't make no sense.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
She don't make sense. That's why I don't call her by her real name.
All right. So a little while ago, a few hours ago, Morgan Freeman became just the latest name to emerge as having been accused of sexually inappropriate behavior or sexual harassment of some kind. 8 women spoke to CNN and detailed some form of harassment, inappropriate touching on movie sets and in publicity events. So this wasn't just like other actresses. This was some reporters as well that were reporting on these movies and in these events. He was mouthing off, saying some very inappropriate things. So that kind of launched this whole investigation into him and if he was doing this with other women.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't. I mean, he did release a statement. You said, right?
Yeah. So after the story broke on CNN, okay. So before the story broke on CNN, it says in the story that they tried to get a comment from him, and they had sent the allegations to him or one of his representatives, but after that they didn't get any kind of response, so they went ahead with the story. After the story broke, he released a statement saying, quote, "Anyone who knows me or has worked with me knows I am not someone who would intentionally offend or knowingly make anyone feel uneasy. I apologize to anyone who felt uncomfortable or disrespected. That was never my intent."
So he may not have specific memories about what went on, but he probably has some maybe some I don't know, vague memory. Possibly
because this is probably a pattern.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the environment's there. You big star, you make millions of dollars. You probably give him, you are giving more leeway than a regular person. Not just a regular guy, but just a regular person. You're giving more leeway.
Yeah.
So people recognize how much influence you have and recognize how much power you have on the set.
Yeah.
So I can see how it can go to any person's head, especially a man's head, and. These movie stars are seen as very charming.
Yeah.
So I can see them using that.
I'm not gonna say that this isn't relevant. Of course, I'm not gonna say it's not relevant to like
the Me Too.
Well, no, not Me Too. I'm saying to like a younger male generation. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't happen with younger males, but as we're seeing, a lot of this stuff is happening with older men. Men that came up in a different generation, and this is, I guess this is the kind of stuff that they have been doing for years and years and years, like these powerful men that have some kind of status and some kind of influence. This is the kind of stuff that they have been doing for years. So it doesn't surprise me that he's the latest name to be thrown out there.
Yeah, because he's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah. So what I would hope is that, as time goes by, and as we see, this is unacceptable in 2018. And it was unacceptable before then, but just not, that wasn't broadcast. That wasn't, it wasn't any, like attention to it like it is now.
And the consequences weren't there.
Exactly. Well. So going forward, the next generations, hopefully these men coming up that will, occupy the same spaces will think better about their behavior. That's, that's what I hope. And then some additional news on that. Well, not, an extension of that. Really, the man that started this whole movement, Harvey Weinstein, I saw that there's a report saying that he is likely to be arrested in New York tomorrow. He's expected to turn himself in. So that's going to be something to watch and, see how that kind of plays itself out.
Yeah, because the outcome of that may have some other ones shaking in their boots.
Oh, yeah. Mugs that haven't even been, I guess, brought to light
yet. Yeah. So not just the ones that have already been brought to light, but, ones that are kind of still under the rug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And just like crossing their fingers. Like,
fingers, toes, eyes.
Don't put me out there, man. Anyway. All right. So, big story of the day, or one of the big stories of the day.
Big story of the day.
If we had some special effects, that would be the sound to play right now. But yeah, big story out of on Thursday. President Trump has canceled the Singapore summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. So Trump wrote a letter to Kim, and in part it read, "I was very much looking forward to being there with you. Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting. Therefore, please let this letter serve to represent that the Singapore summit, for the good of both parties, but to the detriment of the world, will not take place." So in the whole letter, it wasn't a long letter, but the whole letter, it
was, first of all, it was written badly.
It was written bad, but it's Donald Trump. He speaks badly. He speaks badly.
But come on now, it's official letter. I'm pretty sure he had help. So whoever helped him did not help him enough.
Yeah.
It was like, it had commas in places that were unnecessary.
But the tone of the letter was very different than we have heard him speak about.
I think he used the word
Kim.
excellency.
He did.
He used the word excellency.
He did. Very interesting that this summit is now being canceled because it was due to take place June 12th in Singapore. They had already created some mint coins.
Yes, commemorative coins with Trump and Un
their
facing
images,
each other.
yes,
images
on the coin,
carved out, and they were facing each other. It was like
and
red, white, and blue.
Happened. Yeah, nothing had even happened yet.
I wonder how many they meant.
I don't know. Yeah, the White House. I think it was the White House Communications Agency or Communications something. They the ones that crafted it. But yeah, it's not happening anymore. So, what Trump was talking about there with their most, or I guess with North Korea's most recent statements, early on Thursday, it was the vice minister one of the vice ministers in the North Korean foreign ministry, Cho Son-hui, that made some remarks in response to remarks that Vice President Mike Pence made. So first, let's talk about what Mike Pence said. Okay, so this was Mike Pence made these comments on Fox News on Monday. Okay, and he said that, quote, there was some talk about the Libyan model last week, and as the president made clear, this will only end like the Libyan model ended if Kim Jong-un does not make a deal. So then when it was noted that may be perceived as a threat, Vice President Pence said, quote, well, I think it's more of a fact, end quote.
So if you were Kim Jong-un, how would you take that? Like when there's supposed to be a meeting upcoming, how would you take that? How would you receive that if you were Kim Jong-un?
Well, it's
a threat.
It's definitely a threat.
Even if you weren't Kim Jong-un, because we already know that he's hypersensitive, and he's paranoid. Mm-hmm. So even if you have a level head, even if you're not Kim Jong-un, just you as yourself, and you were a leader of a nation, and the vice president of the most powerful nation in the country made a comment that was directed at you and kind of threatened to make your situation similar to that which of Gaddafi. Yeah. How would you react?
Well, put myself in Kim's shoes, right? Because this is this is a sovereign nation that we're talking about. This is a nation with nuclear capability. You're going to tell me that it's a fact that we will end up like the Libyan model if we don't come to a deal? In my language, I'd be like, oh, word? Really? Okay.
And
why would I want to meet with you after that? You just said that recently. Why would I want to meet with you?
And then he was the same one who pretty much protested the North Korean national team at the Olympics.
While he was there.
So he's been throwing shade this entire time. And that comment he made about Libya, that was kind of the third fuck up. That was kind of the third misstep on kind of our part, because the first misstep was United States officials talking about Kim Jong-un is afraid, right? He was afraid of us,
and so that's why he was coming.
Was coming to the table. And the second thing was the military exercises,
right, with South Korea and the U.S.
South Korea. That's when he kind of pulled out with South Korea, not with us.
Yes.
So it's kind of
he threatened to pull out with us.
He threatened to pull out with us, but he's like, look, you know what I'm saying? Y'all overstepping. And so
actually, this is the fourth, because then after that, it was about coming to the table in with them just unilaterally agreeing to denuclearization. Yeah, so this has been devolving for some time.
So to kind of trying to put it all on North Korea and Kim Jong-un is very disingenuous.
Right.
You're making it sound like, it was all him. But I think it's just the White House willing to look kind of foolish now, as opposed to looking really foolish later. Because the Republicans are trying to shape this as, it's a smart move, it's a genius move, because, the White House and, Donald Trump, they don't want to be played. And I was like, but they already played themselves. You see what I'm saying? They've already done that because of all the grandstanding and all the praise they heaped upon Trump.
See, this is
what I'm saying.
But this, see, right now, or no, not anymore because the summit is canceled, but approaching the summit, it was trying to go, this was a diplomatic approach, right? They were all saying that Kim was actually interested in denuclearization. He was interested in ending the Korean War, just bringing peace to the Korean Peninsula. So if you know that, I guess, diplomacy is working, why would you try to ramp things up? Why would you try to antagonize him with comments like this? Pence is a straight up idiot. Like, keep using diplomacy. All these people that were trying to nominate Donald Trump, and I know these weren't Donald Trump's words, but do you think he was critical of Mike Pence for using these words? No, absolutely not.
He was never
because
critical.
he used similar language about the Libyan model. He said the same thing, that if we don't come to a deal, then yeah, that's when the Libyan model would occur.
But see, that's why the cancellation seems a bit flimsy. Because, like, part of the reason why the summit was taking place is because of the hostility, you know what I'm saying? And because of the grandstanding. That's the reason why the summit was going to take place in, at all. That's not the primary reason, but that was kind of like one of the reasons. So it doesn't make sense that now the hostility and grandstanding is why the canceling of
exactly.
Because that's like...
So one has to be true and not the other.
Not the other, because it's always been like that, right? But see, my thing is, like, what happened to Trump's Nobel Prize like diplomacy? Because wasn't he given credit for bringing all this together? Mm-hmm. So if that was the case, like,
why did it devolve?
Why did it crumble so quickly?
Yeah.
If
using the same tactics,
if those tactics were in fact
bringing about
peace, or bringing North Korea and Kim Jong-un to the table, how come those tactics caused this to crumble? And like I said, if he was the instrumental factor, if Trump was the instrumental factor in creating this atmosphere for the summit in the first place, how come he didn't step in and activate that same diplomacy?
Well, I guess
to prevent this from crumbling.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a bunch of bullshit.
I guess the letter didn't try to save it. It canceled it, but look, I mean, you can't employ that same kind of like bloviating, like the chest all out tactic and expect Kim to be like, yeah, okay, I'll succumb. I'm so afraid of you. No, they're not afraid. They just, like, it was today too that they just blew up just demolished their nuclear testing site, right? But it's not news because they don't need it anymore. They don't need this testing site anymore. So this is not news. They have already achieved what they wanted to achieve. They have, I don't know if anybody outside of North Korea knows how far along they are, but I guess they're far along enough that they don't need that testing site anymore. So anyway, let's get to the vice minister of or one of the vice ministers of the North Korean Foreign Ministry, her comments, Choi Sun-hui. So in response to Mike Pence's comments, she said that his comments were, quote, unbridled and impudent. She also called Pence a, quote, political dummy, which I would call him that as well. Mm-hmm. And she said that because he tried to compare Libya to North Korea, because Libya was not as far along in the nuclear capability process as North Korea.
I think that's why we went into North Korea, not North Korea, but Libya so fast.
Exactly.
Because we didn't want to let them get to that point.
That's right. So she also said, and I have this quote, whether the U.S. will meet us at a meeting room or encounter us at nuclear-to-nuclear showdown is entirely dependent upon the decision and behavior of the United States. So that's going right back at Mike Pence and Donald Trump and anybody else that has this kind of language where it's like a threat to North Korea. Like, we're not scared of you. We have nuclear technology. We're not scared. Stop trying to antagonize us at the same time coming to the table in peace talks. It's not going to work like that. We're not interested in that.
And I think the Trump administration and the White House is trying to save face right now, because it was already crumbling. It's not like the White House came and this was kind of on their accord. This was like all on them. Like, we made this decision. And I was like, nah, it was already crumbling a month before the summit, and it was apparent to most people, I'm assuming.
Trump probably just wanted to cancel it before North Korea got a chance to cancel it.
But see, that's not how like Republicans are seeing it. Like, I was reading some comments from Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton, and they make it out like this move was genius. Because because North Korea has a history of kind of like not following up, following their promises,
right?
Not being completely genuine about their motive. But I was just like, that's always been the case, though. That's always been the case. If that's been the case, then why even agree to a summit? You see what I'm saying? They're just trying to they're just definitely trying to save face. Because if you look at how they dealt with like other presidents, whether it be Obama and Clinton, they didn't want to deal with North Korea. Why? Because they were not sure what they were going to get from Kim Jong-un, because he has a history of going back on his promises. So
or his father.
Or his father. Yeah, his father. So like that is well known about North Korea. So if this move was so genius, it would have been done. I guess agreeing to a summit and the way it went down wouldn't have happened in the first place.
Trump wasn't responsible for putting it together, but you could say that he's responsible for it crumbling. You could definitely say that. And the South Korean president, Moon Jae-in, in response to this news about this summit being canceled, he said, quote, "I am very perplexed, and it is very regrettable that the North Korea-U.S. summit will not be held on June 12th when it was scheduled to be held." He also added, quote, "Denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and the establishment of a permanent peace are historic tasks that can neither be abandoned nor delayed." So imagine how Moon Jae-in feels right now, because it was him that was instrumental in putting this together. He was the key figure trying to bring peace to this region. And he invited Trump to the talks. He invited Trump, like, "Hey, Trump, I have some really nice words for you." Oh yeah, Trump was instrumental. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And now he gets involved. America gets involved, and right back where we started. It looks like.
Yo, if I was Moon, I'd be mad as a mug. I'd be mad as hell, because look who he had to deal with. Not as far as Trump goes, but he had to deal with Kim Jong-un. He had to put effort into kind of trying to repair that relationship. Yeah. And that is difficult with somebody like Kim Jong-un.
That was a monumental task.
And not just the relationship and how he engages with North Korea as a country and Kim Jong-un, but setting the stage to bring these two madmen together. You know what I'm saying? That was actually that's a science experiment. That's a science that is a science experiment that almost went well.
But all that needed to happen, understand, we were saying the whole time that there's no way North Korea was interested in unilateral denuclearization. Like, it just did not make sense. I know that was being discussed in the media, but there was no way North Korea was actually interested in that. But they could have still held the talks, because I don't know if that would have been a precondition. I'm certain that America, the United States, the Trump administration wanted that. They wanted a guarantee that North Korea was interested in that. But I don't think that's what it would have taken to actually come to agreement on the summit and actually have it take place. So all the Trump administration had to do was keep talking diplomacy. Stop threatening Kim Jong-un. Stop threatening North Korea, because we're coming to the table. Just let it set. Just be cool, man. Just be cool, man.
But do you think that there was some sort of calculation on the part of the United States government or the White House? Do you think they made some sort of calculation and knew that they were not going to be able to get what they wanted out of this? They would have had to have known that. You don't cancel something. You see what I'm saying? If you feel you're going to get what you want, you don't cancel it. Regardless of how the other party is acting, you don't cancel it, because You don't cancel it for some flimsy reason and saying he's calling us names, or he's pouting, or he's got a bad attitude. That just seems like a very flimsy reason to abandon a very important summit, something so big. Right. So there's got to be something behind it. You think they made a calculation, knowing that they weren't going to come out of the talks looking strong, because they were already looking weak, based on how Un was responding to threats. They were already looking weak.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you shouldn't even go on that route in the first place. As soon as like Moon Jae-in brought Un to the table, Kim to the table, that's it. Like, ramp down all of your rhetoric. Like, just like be cool. But they couldn't do it. And like all these people that were on social media and like in the media as well, like the corporate media, talking about Trump Trump deserved all this credit. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, and he's bringing peace to the region without having done anything. Like, what do you feel now? Like, who's responsible for this crumbling? Who would be responsible for this crumbling? Right. If they said Trump was the key figure in peace talks, like, oh my gosh, there's something that has not happened. Nobody else could get it done. Trump got it done. Now look where we are. Who's at fault?
Not Trump.
Obama.
Hillary Clinton. The deep state is responsible.
Man.
Because, like you said, you're kind of suggesting that if people are going to give Trump credit for orchestrating this whole thing, shouldn't they give him the blame for this whole situation falling to pieces?
That's right. Just like
even if, like I said, even if it was kind of like Pence pushing the needle, Pence is the vice president. He has Trump has the ability to talk to Pence as his second in command, right?
Yes, he does.
Also with the military exercises, he could have reached out to Kim Jong-un and been like, "Hey, yo, my bad, man. Right. My bad.
He could have. But see, just like sports, man, you're the star player, right? You get most of the accolades. You get most of the credit. But when things go bad, you get most of the blame too.
But see, this is almost not even comparable, because he shouldn't have gotten any of the credit to start out with.
But he got it anyway.
He got it anyway. And now that it's crumbling, I don't see the same amount of kind of fervor within the media and within some his supporters.
Makes no sense.
In regards to blaming him for it. So
makes no sense. Then, after the letter came out, I saw something about Trump saying, oh yeah, the U.S. military will be ready, if something happens or something. Like, I mean, North Korea didn't threaten you. It was you that you keep threatening. But then North Korea just put out a statement too, saying that they're ready to talk to the U.S. at any time. So, this is just something that's going to keep playing itself out over the next few days, the next weeks, the next months, the next few years. It doesn't seem to be that there's an end or there's a solution to this problem. So
yeah, because I don't think sanctions are going to work, because that's kind of,
it's never worked.
It's never worked, especially on a country like North Korea, because all he's just going to do is just squeeze his own people.
That's right. So that's it on that. So with that, we're gonna get out of here on Facebook and reserve the rest of the show. All of you on Facebook.
Oh, one of you.
Gosh, oh my goodness, Facebook is doing us so many favors here. Appreciate you watching. There's a link to the show on YouTube. If you would, just click that link and you'll be taken to the rest of the show. We'll see you over there.
Maybe some people on Facebook elect to travel over to YouTube early.
Maybe. This Facebook thing is not working.
Yeah, I think we might need to put Facebook on punishment. On timeout.
Well, they already put us on timeout, really.
For real. So yeah, we should just put them on timeout, man.
All right.
Fuck the Zuck.
All right. So let's get to some other big news. All right. All right. So Sterling Brown is an NBA player for the Milwaukee Bucks, and he just finished up his rookie season. About 4 months ago, Brown was tased and arrested
by Milwaukee Police Department officers on a possible misdemeanor charge of resisting or obstructing an officer. Upon reviewing the video of the incident, they declined to charge him, but they did cite him for a parking violation. So we had spoke about this briefly towards the end of the last show, and we spoke about it because there were reports about the video being released soon. It was to be released on Wednesday. Now, prior to that, virtually everybody that had seen the video, the mayor had seen it. Police officials in the Milwaukee Police Department, they of course had seen it because they have access to it.
The lawyer that was representing Brown too.
Yeah,
I think he saw it.
Everybody pretty much was priming the audience by saying like, okay, it's kind of bad. This is not going to really paint the police department in the best of lights. And it was, I believe, on Sunday. I believe there was an official in the police department that was speaking to a church congregation, and he was talking about saying that like, yeah, in the next few days, next few weeks, there's gonna be a video that comes out that's not gonna be too good. So what we're gonna need a lot of support through these challenges. So when you make a statement like that,
you're admitting guilt. You're admitting wrongdoing without doing it.
Yep.
Not only are you admitting wrongdoing, you are I guess petitioning for support in light of that wrongdoing. That's what kind of pisses me off about that, because the way they politic to the public for sympathy before the release of the footage, knowing like it would show them in a bad light.
Right. It's like, just hey, we're the police. Support us through everything, regardless. No matter what mistakes we make.
So yeah, it's almost like trying to manipulate their minds to influence them and how they perceive this Brown situation before they see the footage.
It's like a headline, man. That people don't read the headlines, maybe they're not going to see this whole video, But anyway, so the video did come out on Wednesday. So we have some clips of the video because it was about like a half-hour video, and we kind of condensed it. Man. Yeah, we condensed it down to I believe it was just under 4 minutes. But let's give you some details about actually what happened. So it was January 26th at about 2 a.m. and Brown had stopped at a Milwaukee Walgreens, and he parked his vehicle horizontally across 2 handicap spots. So a police officer noticed this and approached the vehicle. Upon approaching it, there was somebody else in the car. It was a passenger in Brown's vehicle, and they told the officer that Brown was still in the store. And then soon after that, he came out. And so that's where the video is going to pick up. So we're going to show you this video, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
How you doing? You got a driver's license? Where's that? Where's your driver's license? Back up. You don't see the issue here? Hold on. You don't see the issue here. You're not parked across 3 lanes? That's cool. Yeah, you get back in the car. Cool. $23.90. Can I get another squad here? Back up. Back up. For what? Are you obstructing me? I just told you to back up. I just told you to back up. I just did. Everything's on camera, okay?
You touched me first. So
that's right. I told you to back up. Because you're going to try and get in the car. I'll do what I want, all right? No, I own this right here.
You don't own me, though.
So what's your name?
You say it on
I didn't say I own you. I said I own this.
But this is me. Don't touch me, though. You don't own me.
What's your name?
Don't touch me.
What's your name?
It's on there.
I'm asking you.
I'm telling you, Sterling Brown.
These are simple questions, man.
No, I'm answering.
These are simple questions, and you're being all bad asking me. All right? I asked you a question so I could verify this. Okay?
Right, I pulled up, parked right here. I was in and out. That's it. So what we doing?
Oh, we're gonna wait.
On what?
I'm waiting for my partner.
I understand that, but
well, you had time to park across these lanes here, so So we're gonna wait a little longer.
Do what?
We're just gonna figure it out, man.
I know. All right. So what we figuring out?
We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do. Whether you're gonna get tickets, whatever.
You can't do that by yourself.
All I wanted was one extra. I didn't get the whole cab. Yeah. Well, this guy was trying to get his car to back up, and he got right in my face, and I found his truck somebody. Did you run him, sir, on there? Yeah. Did he have anything or no? Yeah. Okay. No wants, no nothing? Bucks player? Sorry, I'm following the Bucks. So I didn't recognize you. I didn't recognize your famous name.
So that was the video. That was the video that came out. And before we even, talk about the event, so, like I said, it was due to come out on Wednesday, and it did. So at 5 p.m., I believe it was Central Time, that's when they had a press conference, and it was Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales that spoke. And so he addressed the media. He apologized for the incident escalating to the level that it did. He was saying he was sorry for that. He also said that officers acted inappropriately and have been disciplined. No details on what the discipline is or anything like that. So he spoke for all of maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 2 minutes.
Maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, something like that. Then there was somebody else that came and spoke for another minute or something like that. And then they bounced. So this was supposed to be the time that they actually showed the video. So as they're leaving, the media's like, hold on, where the hell are you going, man? We didn't even see the video. We can't even ask you questions because we haven't even seen the video. So they're talking about the media is going to get a link, and they put it up on YouTube, I guess, and I guess that's what they gave all the media. But they wanted nothing to do with being held accountable for what was shown on that video, because if they actually wanted to be transparent, like this chief has said before, like he's all about transparency, and if they make a mistake, they'll own up to it and apologize, whatever. He was not interested in transparency whatsoever because he bucked out before the media got their eyes on it.
It just looked like it was that whole press conference that he called was just a stage that was set up to kind of minimize the damage. Because if you because the feed started at 5 because that's when the footage was supposed to be released. Yeah. But they didn't come out until like after 6. Yeah. And
it's Central Time.
Central Time.
So they came out the right time, but it was a few minutes late.
But like you can hear the reporters in the background talking before Morales came out. Mm-hmm. They were under the impression that they were going to see the footage, right, and they were going to be able to ask questions in regard to that footage. It did not appear as if Morales wanted to answer any questions specifically about the footage, because that what was going to come next. Because after his comments about, we screwed up and all that, you're still going to have to answer questions specifically about
the video,
and event. The procedure that was carried out by your police officers.
Right. But he wanted no part of that. They got out of Dodge before they could answer any questions about that. Sorry, so let's get to the video. So as you saw, like I said, we condensed that down to just under 4 minutes. But you can see right from the beginning, Sterling Brown, he comes out the store, he approaches his vehicle, and this officer, you know, he takes a combative tone. He's like, back up, and he puts his hands on him. So when you as an officer are putting your hands on somebody else, you already escalated the situation. He doesn't feel like he wants to be touched by you. Why are you grabbing him? So again, that sets it up, right? So he's like, don't touch me, you don't own me, you don't touch me, right? So then they get to talking about, yeah, you know, he said he went right in and came right back out.
And that's what he said. He said basically, cop was like, you know, like, what's going on here? And it's like, yeah, I went in and I came right back out. So, like, what should be the next statement by the officer, in your opinion? After walking up to a car that you see is parked illegally, and then the driver comes out, what should be the next step?
The next step is probably,
hey man, yeah, you even though there was probably, I didn't see any other cars out there, he still parked illegally.
This is at 2 a.m.
now. 2 a.m. now,
right?
So the next step should be, hey man, you're parked illegally, so I'm gonna just have to write you a ticket. But
it could be that, or probably the most normal response would be like, yo, you can't park here like that, man. Get out of here. That a warning, something like that. That's probably normal.
So two options: a warning and or a ticket.
A ticket.
Both of those are very seamless processes, right?
Very simple.
But
process.
It was obvious from the jump that the officer wanted to make this more complicated than it was. It was just obvious. It's a simple traffic violation or parking violation that should warrant a ticket. Right. That's it. But a few key words or a few key phrases during this event. And he's like, well, you're going to get a ticket. We're gonna see if you're going to get a ticket.
Well, he said we're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure it out. But my
ticket or whatever.
Or ticket or whatever. You know what whatever it is? You know what whatever is? Whatever is, we're going to look for something else. Even though all it takes in this situation is to give you a ticket.
Right.
Whatever is just, I'm going to get people over here and we're going to create a situation to where we can search your car and search you and try to find something else to charge you with. That's what whatever is.
Because you can see, okay, so first of all, you can see that he doesn't know what's going to happen, right? Because he's like, you can't just handle that yourself, you know? You just one cop, you can't handle it yourself. So all these different cop cars show up and he's telling one of the cops in the cop cars, yeah, I just wanted one. I just want an extra one, right? But what happens? I guess every cop in Milwaukee heard the radio call and was like, oh, 2 a.m. we got nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do.
Let's get out there, right? So everybody shows up, right? Like all 81 cops show up, right? Okay, so they're out there now. They don't know what they're gonna do. So if you could see, there was part of that video before they had actually accosted him that they're looking in the vehicle. Why the hell are you looking in the vehicle?
All in the vehicle.
Why are you looking in the vehicle? All this dude did was a parking violation. Like, first of all, like, okay, this is 2 a.m. He probably did not, like, I guess, get in the way of anybody else parking. I'm pretty sure of that. But still, you know, it's a pretty whack move, you know, like, don't do that, right? Don't do that. But does that warrant you looking in my vehicle now? Because when you're looking in my vehicle now, all you're doing, like you said, you're looking for something else.
That's why
you're hunting.
This is, again, they were just trying to hold him there, and they were using this parking violation as a reason to hold them. But still, that wasn't enough though, because they know as officers a parking violation isn't enough. So then they have to create some sort of pretext. They have to create some sort of pretext to then do what they plan to do. And if you notice, he's just standing there pretty relaxed. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they have a problem with him having his hands in his pockets, which were most likely there the whole time. And if you actually paid attention during the clip we showed, there was instances actually happened, I think more than once, where his alarm went off. His alarm went off and the passenger got out. This happened twice. The passenger got out. He said everything is good. And he put his hands in his pocket and silenced the alarm.
Yeah. Not only did he put his hands in his pocket, whatever was in his pocket surfaced in his hands. And then he put it back in his pocket.
But again, let's go back and just talk about the moment before they just bum rushed him. Again, they were standing there. It was pretty relaxed. They were just questioning him.
He was chill as can be.
It wasn't like a standoff. They were just questioning him. And all of a sudden, he becomes a threat to commit some sort of act of violence. And again, they saw him silence his alarm, so they know what he has in his hands. And it's probably cold outside, and he has his hands in his pocket.
He didn't make any threatening movements.
All of a sudden, they're like, "Get your hands out your pockets!" All of a sudden, even though it had been a good amount of time.
Yeah, they had been sitting there talking to him for 15, a few minutes. Yeah. They've been looking in his car with the flashlights, everything, and all of a sudden he became like a threatening subject. Get your hands out of the pocket! Get your hands out of the pocket! Now we have to actually physically put our hands on you and pull your hand out of your pocket. He's like, "Hold on, man, I got something in your pocket." So then all the officers have to converge on him, take him to the ground, taser him.
They were painfully searching for a reason. That's what that was. That's what they painfully wanted to search his car and him, but they didn't really have a legitimate reason. So they had to create one. And guess what? Think about this. He was aware in that moment, get your hands out of your pockets. I mean, they were being very aggressive. And so he was like, I have something in my hand. So he was trying to let them know, hey, I have something in my hands. I don't want to take my hands out of my, I don't want to like pull my hands out and make it look like I have something. So he was warning them, but they didn't care. They just rushed him anyway.
Right.
Like it was like 4 or 5 of them.
There was like 5, and then so I mean, and this is why in this situation, like the officer that was originally on the scene said he only wanted one cop there, one extra cop, but then everybody shows up, right? This is why people say that cops don't have nothing better to do. Do you see all of these police officers on the scene?
That's just that angle.
Yes.
That's just that angle. 1,
there's
2,
people
3,
in
4,
the background
5, 6,
too.
7, 8, 9.
I mean, there's people that you can't see in this footage.
That's like 9 or 10. That's like 9 or 10 people right there.
Why are all of these officers on this scene for some guy that was just parked across handicap spots?
Yo, I mean,
if you think
they were obviously investigating the crime of the century, so it was necessary for the entire department to be there.
If you think that's like a real like a man, you for lack of a better word, like that's a dick move. You shouldn't do that to your fellow humans. Even at 2:00 in the morning, right? Give them a ticket. That's all. Like you said at the beginning, this is a very simple situation. All you have to do, if you want to go that route, is give the man a ticket. Let me see your ID. Let me write this up. Blah, blah, blah. Bam. Be on your way. That's it. You had to call the crew. And so after they get him on the ground and got the cuffs on them, now they get to search the vehicle. They all in the vehicle, search for something. And then the cops like, any warrants? Anything like that? No? Oh, okay. All right. Then after that, they find out that he's a Milwaukee Bucks player.
Dang it! That means it's gonna be all over the news,
man.
And then we're gonna have to release his body cam footage that shows us like just itching for an opportunity to search this guy, even though it was a minor traffic violation or minor parking violation.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, what message do you think it sends to Brown? Because he's a citizen just like you and I, and what message does that send to Brown, and what message does that send to the larger public? You know what I'm saying? What message are they sending? I mean, that civilians are beneath them and they're willing to publicly shame them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just to assert some sort of dominance?
Yeah. It sends the message that we are the damn law.
And it doesn't
matter.
We can do whatever we want to do.
And we can look for whatever we want to. We don't care if it's just a simple violation, a parking violation, not even a traffic violation. We don't care. We're just going to make your night really awful.
So after the video came out, Sterling Brown, there was a statement by Sterling Brown published on the Milwaukee Bucks website, and it reads, my experience in January with the Milwaukee Police Department was wrong and shouldn't happen to anybody. What should have been a simple parking ticket turned into an attempt at police intimidation, followed by the unlawful use of physical force, including being handcuffed and tased, and then unlawfully booked. This experience with the Milwaukee Police Department has forced me to stand up and tell my story so that I can help prevent these injustices from happening in the future. He also added... let me get this. Where is that at? Okay. Yeah, he also added, black men shouldn't have to have their guard up and instantly be on the defensive when seeing a police officer, but it's our reality and a real problem. There must be mutual respect, and both sides have to figure out how to accomplish this.
Another bullshit move by the department was the day before that footage was supposed to be released. They put out like
May
this.
20, yep,
It was like the day before now.
Yep, May 22nd. Yep.
They put out like a video, like
it was a message to the community video. That's how it was entitled.
It was a campaign commercial.
Yes.
That coincidentally came out the day before the footage was supposed to be released. It was like some sort of like masturbatory like it was like this, like they were serenading themselves and talking about how I guess they're working the community and stuff like that.
Yes.
The day before.
Yes.
The day before.
And it
featured, that was a coincidence?
No, it was not a coincidence. The day before, and it featured. Well, you saw images of different police officers, but who was narrating it was the Milwaukee police chief. What's his name again?
Morales.
Alonzo Morales. So in the video, he said, if there's ever an incident where one of our members makes a mistake, unnecessarily escalating the situation, I'm going to be honest and transparent about it.
That's where you got the transparent thing from.
Bullshit. One, it took you 4 months.
When did this happen?
This happened January 26th. It took you almost 4 months to release this video footage when anybody looking at this video footage would have immediately come away with the idea or I guess they would have immediately came away with the impression that these officers acted very wrong. They escalated the situation, just like what you said, unnecessary escalating the situation. You're going to be honest and transparent about it. Again, took 4 months, and then when it came out, you wouldn't even sit in front of the media and take questions about it because I guess that's too difficult for you. So to me, the Milwaukee Police Department ain't about shit. They're about nothing. Because if it's led by this man, and another thing to note, he actually wasn't even he didn't even have that position when Brown was actually arrested. He took office in February. I think it was a few weeks afterward. Yeah, like early February. If you're a man that wants to actually lead this police department in the right way and I guess communicate to the community, to this nation, that you're going to do your job the best way. You're not going to be about all this, improper behavior by your officers. Then you would have stood up there on that podium and you would have handled it like a real police chief would have, like somebody that was actually interested in accountability and transparency. But you didn't do that. This man is not about shit, man.
So yeah, it doesn't make sense. If he was really concerned with transparency, he would have stayed there and answered questions.
Be a man, right? Just be the man. Like, and that's not to say like, in comparison to like be a woman or no, it's just to say like this is your role, right? Be an adult. This is your role. You are the police chief. You are the leader of this department. Stand up there and be accountable. We don't even know who was penalized, what they were penalized with. There were many officers on this scene. Were all of them penalized? Because there were at least 5 of them that actually put their hands on Sterling Brown and dragged him to the ground.
So there wasn't just one bad cop in that situation.
No.
There were a group of cops working together in this situation to violate this man's rights.
And not one of them stopped it from going down.
So yeah, we both and probably a lot of people out there want to know what kind of discipline was I guess, issue to all of the officers, not just the initial officer, because he did kind of start it, but it looks like they were more than willing to finish the work that the first officer started.
That's right.
They were more than willing to do that.
So again, I asked this question. Seems to be in a lot of instances, where were the good cops? Where were the good cops in this situation? Where was the good cop at the press conference?
Yo, and he's the leader.
He's the leader.
So if the leader is kind of conducting himself in this situation,
running and hiding,
and not having any accountability, to me that speaks a lot to why the situation even happened in the first place.
This is why players are kneeling. This is why they are kneeling. And with that, how about we get to another story, right?
Ah, yes. That story that ties into
it kind of ties into it, right?
Yeah,
let's pull this up real quick here. Okay. So the NFL has approved a new national anthem policy. And it requires players to stand if they are on the field during the performance. But it does give them the option to stay in the locker room or somewhere else so that they don't have to stand for the national anthem. So that was announced on Wednesday. And the penalty, there is a penalty. Teams will be subject to a fine if personnel does not stand for the national anthem. Also, teams have the ability to fine their own personnel if they don't stand for the national anthem as well. So it was originally reported that it was a unanimous decision by NFL owners, about this policy, to approve this policy. But it was actually clarified today on Thursday that it actually wasn't like a formal vote. It was, I believe it was just like a show of hands that they called for. And there was nobody that was, I guess, offering a dissenting opinion. Nobody, that was opposing this new regulation or this new policy. Now it did come out that I believe the San Francisco 49ers owner, he abstained from voting in this process, and I believe also the Oakland Raiders owner abstained from voting as well.
What about your team?
Yeah, well, we talk about that in a minute. But I guess not including those two, everybody else was supportive of this new regulation, and this will be taking place in the next upcoming season.
Do you think this really has to do with patriotism though, or it's just like they're a corporation that pushes consumer product and they have to cater to a shallow base, which is unfortunate, but I think they just want to cater to a shallow base. They've already established themselves as having this product that caters to patriotism. We already covered the story about them being paid by the NFL to put on these kind of patriotism shows. Yeah. So that's their brand. They tapped into this kind of superficial adoration people have for the military and the flag to draw their customers in, and that's what it's about. They're not going to give up that business model.
So they are interested in the bottom line. We know that. So in announcing this decision, these are some words by the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. He said, "We want people to be respectful of the national anthem. We want people to stand. That's all personnel. And make sure they treat this moment in a respectful fashion. That's something we think we owe. But we were also very sensitive to give players choices." So this was a complete cave-in. This was a complete and absolute cave-in to President Donald Trump, who, as was noted months ago, stood up on a podium and was saying that these players that were kneeling were sons of bitches and they don't deserve the right to play NFL football. Get them off the field. All of this, right? You remember what is it? Planet of the Apes. Get a little submissive.
Dog. It's so funny, man. See, that's extra funny because I just watched it like a few days ago.
That's Roger Goodell. That's right. Like, all these NFL owners and Roger Goodell have officially became President Trump's bitches. Officially.
But see, it's still like, it's not about Trump per se. It's still really not about Trump.
It's not about Trump, but Trump brought it, like, Trump brought it up here.
Yeah, because he can influence his base to boycott their product.
That's right.
So it's essentially about market demand. That's it. So yes, Trump is not the lowest common denominator, but they recognize the kind of influence he has. So basically, the capitalism that they practice, it serves as like, that's like their litmus test. Their litmus test is how well their bottom line serves them, and not some sort of, I don't know, they're operating with some kind of integrity or principle. That is what's serving them, their bottom line. So that's how they make their decisions.
Trump doesn't even play football, and yet these owners in Roger Goodell can't even hold his jockstrap.
But see, if it was really just, if the lowest common denominator was Trump, then they would have caved to Trump when he was talking all that shit. When he wanted to, I guess they wouldn't let him in because they closed him and what's the other dude? Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah,
they kind of locked him out.
Yeah,
and so he's always had a beef with the NFL.
He has the power to purse. He's on that platform, and like you said, he can influence people. He brought it up to here to like a umpteenth level, I guess degree. But there's many things that's wrong with this new policy. First, you were talking about like, this isn't patriotism, this is forced patriotism. But then another thing is that by the NFL actually crafting this policy, they have officially established that kneeling for the national anthem is disrespectful, and it is not patriotism. It is like, they have established officially that you are not patriotic. You are not American. You are un-American if you kneel for the national anthem. Now, this is in response to, like, going back to the beginning with Colin Kaepernick and all the other players that kneel for the national anthem as well. They have detailed exactly why they have been kneeling. And it wasn't because we hate the national anthem. It wasn't because we hate America. It wasn't because we hate the troops. No, there were for some very specific reasons about justice, like criminal justice reform and the disproportionate treatment for black people in this country when they encounter police officers. Like, these were all the reasons. Not one of those reasons had anything to do with disrespecting the flag or the troops or the national anthem. So why do you keep pushing it, and why did you officially establish that as being the case?
But it's actually that them making that the case kind of sets up a kind of an irony, in my opinion, because what's this kind of national anthem supposed to represent, right? It's supposed to represent freedom.
It does.
Justice.
Right.
And equality, right? So Colin Kaepernick, along with some other players, decide to use that particular time where the national anthem is being played to kneel and to be an advocate for justice, freedom, and inequality. So I think it's an irony that people castigate them for kneeling for the very reason, or the very, I guess, the reason what this flag is supposed to symbolize. Right. You know what I'm saying? That shit just baffles me.
So look, man, and I've been very critical about the national anthem before, and like I just told you, these players, it's never been about the national anthem. It's been about police brutality, and like I said, criminal justice reform. It's about patriotic issues. It's about wanting to make this country better for all of us, right? But I'll say it again, and I'll say it in a different way, because it's just, I can't say it in any other way. Fuck the national anthem. I gives a damn about the national anthem. The national anthem was not even made for us black people. Okay? So miss me with the talk about how we should feel like uplifted and feel a sense of like some kind of patriotism, or feeling like we are actually included in like whatever the American dream is, and like we feel some kind of integrity when we see or when we hear that music. I don't. The players won't say that, but damn if I won't. I don't give a damn about the damn national anthem.
You know what? Because they want to feel better about their country. That's what it's about, them being insecure. So if you're not standing up doing the same thing that they're doing, it makes them feel bad. And you, as well as me as well, and other people who don't give a fuck about the national anthem, they kind of rip the mask off. And you know how it is when people get their mask ripped off, they don't like it. So it's a little bit of insecurity there. So they don't want to even see anybody that has kind of a contrasting view as theirs, because it makes them feel bad. So it's not even about you, it's about them.
So there was one team that made a statement about this whole issue that was I guess very relevant, and that was the chairman of the New York Jets, Christopher Johnson. He announced that he's going to pay the fines for his players if they do choose to protest during the national anthem. And he said, he told Newsday that he never wants to, quote, put restrictions on the speech of our players. This was another quote from him. He said, there will be no club fines or suspensions or any sort of repercussions. If the team gets fined, that's just something I'll have to bear. So
at least you got something to be proud about.
Yeah,
as
man.
a Jets fan, because you don't have much.
Jets, right? I know exactly. At least not yet.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But still,
that's not Jason.
Yeah, like I appreciate those comments from him, because like he's someone that says, hey, I do wish, I hope they do stand, but if they don't, that's their prerogative. And if, I'll definitely take the brunt of that. I'm going to take the hit and we'll pay the fines, because they have a right to free speech, and shoot, they're going to exercise that right, or they have the right to exercise that right with the New York Jets. So I'm appreciative of that. He was one of the owners that was like, hey, we're in approval of this policy. He said that as a member of, I guess, like the NFL owners community, he felt like, hey, it was on him to, I guess, agree with everybody on this and blah, blah, blah. But, that's whatever. But at least as it goes with the New York Jets, he's not going to allow those, his players, if they do choose to kneel, he's not going to allow them to, take the hit for it. And another point that is very notable here is who he is. So he's the acting owner of the New York Jets, but his brother is actually the owner, Woody Johnson. So Woody Johnson is a Trump supporter, and he's even more than a Trump supporter. He was actually appointed the ambassador to Britain by Donald Trump. That's why he's not the owner, or the acting owner of the New York Jets right now. That's why the chairman, his brother Christopher Johnson, took over. So it's just very interesting that somebody that has like that close a tie to the Trump administration,
because
would come out and say, hey, we're not going to allow that to happen.
Good and well, he has been communicating with his brother.
Of course he has.
About this issue, not just with team issues, but about this issue.
Right.
So it is kind of interesting that he would take this position. And also, I wonder if, Trump didn't name him ambassador and he was actually with the team in his normal capacity. I wonder if we might have seen something different come out of the Jets organization.
I wonder if we would have seen zero come out of the Jets organization. Because, like we said, he's a Trump supporter.
And Trump loves this.
Yeah, he does.
Trump.
Oh yeah. So let's play a little clip. I forgot all about that video clip. Yeah. So Trump was asked about this. I believe he had an interview with Fox News on Wednesday. And this was after the news about the new policy broke. And so this is how Trump, kind of responded to it.
The NFL has the owners have voted unanimously to approve a new national anthem rule that says if you're not going to stand, stay in the locker room. If you go to the field, you have to stand. If you have a protest, your team's going to get fined. This is the first time you're hearing this. What's your reaction, Mr. President?
Well, I think that's good. I don't think people should be staying in locker rooms, but still, I think it's good. You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. Well, you shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country. You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. And the NFL owners did the right thing if that's what they've done.
Oh, wait. Did he say they may not even deserve to be in the country? Did he say that?
He did say that.
They don't deserve to be in
a
the
national
country.
Broadcast.
So Nazis and Confederate sympathizers, which by default is anti-American. Some good people there. They deserve to be in the country. But NFL players who are kneeling, just advocating equality, they don't deserve to be in the country, and there's no good within that group, huh?
No, they deserve to be expunged, I guess. Hey, get out of the country. He also said, you have to stand. You have to stand. You ain't got to do a damn thing. If I don't want to stand for the damn national anthem, I'm not going to stand. I don't care where I am. If I have my feet on the damn ground in the United States of America, I don't have to stand whatsoever. But that doesn't mean that I'm unpatriotic. That doesn't make me un-American. It means that I have the right to expression.
But think about who that's coming from, though. How does he view himself? How does he view himself, though? He wants the support of people. He wants the support of the media. He wants the praise from people, the praise from the media.
Yep.
He wants people to kiss his ass regardless of what he does.
Regardless.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So no matter what he does, people should praise him unconditionally. This is why he calls anything that comes through the news that's negative and doesn't paint him in a perfect light as fake or unfair. So it would make sense that him being the president of the United States would kind of see the flag and the national anthem in the same way, because now it's like these two things are meshed now. You know what I'm saying? His own ego and now the United States. So now you have to praise it regardless. But that's just, Trump is just a little, he's just expressing something that I would say a lot of Americans think too. So
Yeah,
let's not just put this on Trump.
No, yeah, see, like we said, just a few minutes ago, Trump is relevant because he heightened the focus on this. But this is not just like a Trump idea. Many Americans, across the country feel that same way, that same very ignorant way. What the NFL did here, it's like at first when I learned that the players could stay in the locker room, I was like, well, that's good. But then I was like, well, hold up. So Musk's gonna be on the field and you got to stand? Like, why the hell would you, like, why not do nothing? Like, nothing was better than this. I heard that, so there were different proposals as well. One proposal was actually implementing a penalty, like in the gameplay,
like a 15-yard penalty.
15-yard penalty in the gameplay.
In the gameplay, something that has
if
nothing
a player
to do
on
with
a team.
the game. You know what? You know what? This is it's even more disingenuous, because if it was truly about respecting the flag, it wouldn't just be about the players. Because again, these NFL organizations and these NFL teams, don't they govern the goings on in the stadium? Mm-hmm. They govern all that.
Yep.
The souvenir shops.
Yep.
The teams do that. Mm-hmm. Hot dogs, hamburgers, beer, vendors, whatever else it is. If they were truly genuine about people showing respect for the flag and patriotism, wouldn't they suspend sales
during that
time?
Hey, not right now.
No, we're not going to sell hot dogs. We're not going to sell beer.
Hey,
we're not going to sell
observe the national
products
anthem,
and souvenir
and
jerseys and footballs and T-shirts, anything like that.
Take your hat off.
Take your hat off. We're not going to do anything in the stadium for this particular time period. Because if it was really about that, that's what they would do.
Like, again, man, forced patriotism, man. That's all it is. And if it's forced patriotism, is it really patriotism? No, it's not.
But we're supposed to accept Nazis and tiki torch soldiers because the First Amendment, but players kneeling during the national anthem somehow is punishable and out of place?
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So let's go to Colin Kaepernick, because he's a part of this. A part of this. Right. So of course he's a former Super Bowl quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and he filed a grievance in October against the NFL, citing collusion against him being signed, because he was not signed for the entirety of the last NFL season. So if we remember correctly, the common and widespread defense against Colin Kaepernick not being signed was because of football reasons, right? Because, hey, he's just a marginal quarterback, he's got up and down numbers, he's not really that good,
They tried to use football reasons as a cover for their bigotry.
That's right.
That's what they were trying to do.
Well, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, he reported on Monday that internal franchise documents revealed during the collusion investigation highlighted the fact that some NFL teams saw Kaepernick as talented enough to be a starter in the league. That's from the Bleacher Report. So this is what Mike Florio said. He said, per a source with knowledge of the situation, internal franchise documents generated as part of the free agency evaluation process and testimony from witnesses harvested via depositions in the collusion litigation has established that teams viewed Kaepernick as being good enough not simply to be employed by an NFL team, but to be a starting quarterback for an NFL team. That seems to throw that whole reasoning of Colin Kaepernick not being good enough. If all these teams believe that he was good enough, not just to be on a team, but to be starting for one of the 32 teams, then why the hell hasn't he been signed? Because he just filed that collusion, and he just filed that grievance in October, right?
And they denied it the entire time.
The whole entire time. Most teams. Okay, so most teams. Virtually no. Every team has at least two starting. Two quarterbacks on the roster. Some teams carry three. Not many, but some teams carry three. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at least 64, probably up to 70 quarterbacks that are active in the NFL on an active roster. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that he's not one of the best 70?
Yeah, we already kind of talked about some other quarterbacks that some teams elected to sign.
Quarterbacks that haven't even been in the league for years.
There was a few quarterbacks that hadn't even been in the league for 2 or 3 years. They were actively ignoring this dude.
They were going out of their way to be like, we don't see Kaepernick. Let's the dude way back there that has been out of the league for 4 years. Yeah, let's bring him in.
But I think a lot of people, when it comes to Colin Kaepernick, I think they're resentful because they got trapped. I'm serious. You see what I'm saying? Because Colin Kaepernick didn't say anything.
Right.
Because he started kneeling. There were people in the stands.
Yeah.
There were people watching all over the country, all over the world. But since we're talking about United States and the national anthem, just focus on the fans here and the consumers here. Uh-huh. They were watching, and he was doing it. Did they say anything? Did anybody say anything?
Nope.
He was kneeling. No players said anything. No coaches said anything. You didn't hear any chatter from the fans that were there. So when did he start getting criticized for kneeling? When did all the vitriol start? When the reporter...
Yeah, the media asked him.
A reporter came in and asked him.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
You know what I think? I think Colin Kaepernick did the perfect civil rights knock joke. Seriously, because he pretty much put himself in the defensive position to where someone else was forced to ask. So he put him in a position where he was prompted to ask. It's not like he just came out here like all strong. You see what I'm saying? Because then that would have like had different optics.
Right.
But he did like the whole like, okay. It's like knock knock. And then the reporter's like, oh, because that was the kneel. The kneel was the knock knock. It was like a little silent, very subtle knock knock. And the reporter was like, oh, who's there? Who's there? Colin Kaepernick was like, police. And then, oh, more police. Like, police who? And he's like, police brutality. Bam. Then everything blows up. And he talked about equality too. He did. And he talked about inequality. He talked about the disproportionate treatment that black people suffer with this criminal justice system. And then that's when people got bent out of shape. And I think people are resentful because Colin Kaepernick tricked everyone. Like he was saying he basically was like, you know, like rotten fruit to like fruit flies, and they fell for it. And also I think people are resentful because he brought up a legitimate issue, I guess during the time where they are showing respect for the flag that's supposed to represent something, and he brought up an issue that contradicted that kind of feeling that people have about their country. And so the mask got ripped off, and I think people are resentful for that.
See, like it shouldn't have been a huge issue. Like if it was a huge issue, it should have been about what Colin Kaepernick was actually bringing awareness to. Like that should have been a huge issue, because what he was actually bringing awareness to has been talked about forever. It's been talked about forever, with many people being involved in this discussion, right? It was nothing new. Absolutely nothing new did he bring to the table. He's just saying that, hey, you know what? I have my status here. And actually, no doubt he knew he was going to be questioned about it. No doubt. Like you said, it's like this perfect civil rights knock-knock joke, right? He knew he was going to be asked about it, but he didn't offer it. He's just going to do this, what he needs to do silently. And then when the attention comes, he's going to let people know what it's about. But even that route got things so confused, even though he was very clear. He was very crystal clear about his intentions and what he was doing and why he was doing it. Everything. He didn't leave anything out. Yet people refused to listen. So that's where we are, with the NFL and its owners being the bitches.
This is America.
Of President Donald Trump. I'm gonna put this on Trump. Like I said, it's not just about Trump, but Trump brought this level way up here. So yeah, just whatever, man. Let's go to Capuano, I guess, right?
Yeah, Capuano.
Yeah. Okay. So Representative Michael Capuano has represented the Massachusetts 7th District since 1999, almost 20 years. So it used to be the 8th District, but due to some redistricting, I believe in 2012, it was converted into the 7th District. So he's rarely seen any opposition. I believe only twice he has seen I believe twice. There was one Democrat that ran against him, I believe, and then there was one independent, but they weren't seen as like serious candidates or serious challengers in the primaries. And only once has he actually seen a Republican opponent in the general, and that was the initial year that he ran in 1998. So this dude has had a very cushy, road. I mean, he's had like just cushy primaries, and I mean, he's just never been threatened until now. This year he's going to face his most serious challenge in Ayanna Pressley. She's a member of the Boston City Council. Pressley is the first black woman to serve on the Boston City Council in its over century history. So on the issues, Capuano and Pressley are pretty similar, pretty comparable. There's not a lot of daylight between them, right? So both identify themselves as progressives. The one main difference between the two, I guess really the main difference between the two, is that Capuano is a 66-year-old white man, and Pressley is a 44-year-old black woman. I guess that's the most significant difference between the two. All right. So the 7th District of Massachusetts is only about 33% white.
So that's not. I mean, that's not a lot. So what that means is that the majority of the district is minorities. Okay, I think 26% of it is black. And I think 10% of it is Asian. So like I said, including all the minority populations, it's a minority controlled district, and I believe that's the only district in Massachusetts that's operating that way, that has a majority minority population. Now, I guess, like, even with that being said, he's had the district for, like I said, about 20 years. So there are some, and no doubt this is, relevant in other parts of the country as well, that, they want to see somebody that looks like them represent them, right?
And I think currently right now with these midterms going on and the kind of narrative behind these midterms and kind of the crumbling respect for the Democratic Party, the whole idea is what, like new blood, new faces,
change, younger faces as well.
Younger faces. So I think that's kind of swirling in the environment right now.
Right. Now, the one, I guess, element in this to highlight is that even though the district is a majority minority population, the voting public in that district is, I believe, 55% white. So that's troubling. I mean, that's real troubling to me. It's discouraging. It's disappointing because it's like
there's obviously something that's causing these voters to sit out.
Well, and it's just like anywhere else because you have disillusioned voters everywhere, or people that just don't want to get involved with the process because they don't know what's going on. They could care less.
But
right?
see, it's not disillusion across the board.
It's not disillusion. Yeah,
that's the problem.
It's like hyper focused in this district that people are just staying home. So it's disappointing because, like, I know these voters or these people that are not voting, I know they want change. You know what I'm saying? But they're not actually activating themselves in the process, which is very disappointing.
I don't begrudge the CBC pact for not
we didn't go to that yet.
Oh, that's right.
We didn't go to that.
My bad. 'Cause I was already getting ahead of myself. to highlight who endorsed.
Yeah. All right.
Capuano.
Right. So let's get into that. So in this race, of course, there's going to be endorsements, people, because this is an actual, a serious challenge that is looked at. So in every other primary that he's had, I don't think he's needed any backing because in all these races, like he
hasn't been challenged most of the
over
time.
70, over 80% of the vote. I mean, he's not challenged whatsoever. But now, like I said, he is by Presley. So, instead of Presley, Capuano has the back end of the Democratic establishment, which could be, I mean, like, hey, of course, he's been there for like almost 20 years. You would expect that. But not only the Democratic establishment, he has the back end of the Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee. They have just recently endorsed him. But that's not all. Representative John Lewis, he has also endorsed Capuano as well. So recently, I believe this was just this past week, and he said, quote, "People who have been around for a while, they know their way around, they know where all the bodies are buried, and they know how to get things done." Now, I'm not going to say that, since Presley is black and, in this district is a majority minority population, that she should get in there. Like she should have their vote, because I'm not. There's no way anybody reasonable would say that, because, like, think about Bernie Sanders or Barack Obama. I'm on Bernie Sanders' side rather than Barack Obama. He's an establishment figure, so there's no way, like, I'm gonna play into the notion that, hey, just because she's black, she should get a lot of support. I'm not gonna say that at all. But the reasoning that John Lewis gave to support Capuano, just because he's experienced,
and it just seems,
he knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah, it's the whole, like, we have a long-standing relationship with X person, so fill in the blank. In this case, it's Capuano.
That's right.
So we're gonna go with him. That just always seems like a get out of jail free card.
That's
to
an
me.
Establishment tactic. Right there.
That just seems out of, like, Like, yeah, just like you said, an establishment tactic, and that's like the first go-to excuse.
Exactly.
And I agree with you. I don't think, you know, John Lewis or anybody in the CBC should just hand over support or endorse anybody just because of their gender or race.
Right.
I just don't like kind of the rationalizations they're throwing out.
Right.
That's the only that's what I hate. What's the chairman? What's his name?
The chairman of the CBC PAC. His name is Representative Gregory Meeks. He had some words about you know, why they were back in Capuano. So before we get to those words though, like, I don't think me or Mike has like a resistance to either one of these candidates, you know, Presley or Capuano, because it seems like these two are actually progressives. Like, I mean, I don't know a great deal about them. I know, you know, we have done some research and we have found out a lot about them, but you know, we don't have history going back with them in which we're like very familiar with them, especially Presley. But anyway, Capuano, you know, he's supportive of universal health care, single payer. So is Presley. Of course, in Massachusetts, they, you know, already legalized marijuana. They're both proponents of that. And like we said at the beginning, they don't really have a lot of daylight between them. So, you know, they're really running on the same kind of platform. Some things about Capuano rub me the wrong way, and one of them is highlighted on his website, on his campaign website. So the first issue that he lists on his campaign website is it's entitled "Resisting Trump."
Yeah, that's the first red flag right there. That's the first red flag.
Yeah, because okay, now that's a Democratic establishment ploy right there too. That's a tactic that they all use. Like, we got to resist Trump. So I don't like that, because like, Trump isn't the problem. Like, Trump is a problem, but he isn't the problem.
Isn't that what John Lewis highlighted as to why he supported Capuano as well?
Yes. Like, Trump is on policy. He's just like any other Republican.
He's just like any other Republican. He is just like, I guess, the rhetorical extreme.
Yes.
Like, all he does is kind of talk more about it in a more blatant way, in a more derogatory way,
offensive way,
a more offensive way. So he's not, like, his approach is different. That's all.
But again, he's just like any other Republican that you would oppose as well. So if you're going to make this specifically about Trump, then like, what are you doing? Like, I mean,
so his platform, his platform is anti-Trump.
Yeah, and you know, to lead off with that too, it's like, yeah, I get all these other issues that you listed, but leading off with that and making this all about Trump is like, you're missing the point. Like, you get rid of Trump and then what? You think we won the battle? No, because conservatism is still there, right? The policies are still right, are still there. The ideology is still there. It's not about Trump. So why are you highlighting that you're resisting Trump? Why don't you resist like an ideology? Why don't you resist these bad policies? So I don't like that. I don't like that, because that's empty to me. All right, you're like, I think he's just trying to appeal to the establishment. That's what I think it is, right? So that rubs me the wrong way. So then the second thing that rubs me the wrong way, we're gonna get to your boy now.
Oh, your boy, Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory Meeks, who's the chairman of the CBC PAC. So this is what he said about why he's supporting Capuano. Right here, okay. So he said, at a time when Donald Trump continues to spew hateful rhetoric and policies, we need a leader like Representative Capuano in Congress. Civil rights are under attack and we need to fight back. Representative Capuano has built his career on standing up for those who have been left behind, from health care to transportation to housing. We in the Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee have a strong, committed partner in Mike and unanimously support his campaign for Congress.
So would none of those issues be there if Trump wasn't here? And see, that's just one half of the bullshit that he said.
That's just, yeah, exactly.
That's just the other half of the bullshit, because he had some advice for new candidates.
Right.
And there were two statements that kind of stood out to me and that kind of told me where he was and what position he established himself, I guess, in all this. And one of the statements was, while increasing diversity in the House is important, new candidates should focus on unseating Republicans. And there was another comment that kind of piggybacked off of that, and that said, we need young and energetic folks to run in open seats or seats that Republicans currently hold.
So you don't challenge
No.
the Democratic establishment.
You don't. That's basically what he was saying. Without saying it, he was saying that incumbents and those who have established themselves as, party leadership, according to us, y'all shouldn't challenge them. Now, does that make sense for him to tell the new and upcoming, new and upcoming candidates, the young bloods, to run as Republicans? But then at the end of the day, they would still be challenging the Democratic Party. That doesn't even make it. Run as a Republican. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't know, man.
Unseating Republicans. What?
The beef that I had with, and you know what, and it wasn't even so much about Capuano, although I do have a recent beef with him. It was about the part of what Gregory Meeks said in that comment about civil rights are under attack and we need to fight back. Okay, so there was something that we talked about just recently, and it was on the last broadcast, and that was the Blue Lives Matter bill, which officially was titled the Protect and Serve Act of 2018. And so what that policy implements is that an assault, or it establishes that an assault on a police officer would be considered a federal hate crime going forward. And it was passed in the House of Representatives by a vote of 382 to 35. So it had widespread Democratic support. Guess who voted for it? That would be none other than Representative Mike Capuano. So you're telling me, as the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus Political Action Committee, you're interested in civil rights, specifically black people's civil rights, and what you're going to do is endorse a guy that just voted to extend even more protection to law enforcement, more unneeded and unnecessary support and protection to law enforcement, even though it's like every single day we see the abuses around the country of certain police officers and how they are not held accountable for their actions. You're interested in civil rights, but you're okay with your candidate making that kind of vote?
Okay, so you're basically saying kind of the reason why they support him, as far as like his not supporting most of kind of Trump's policies, which is true. When I looked it up, it was like maybe 13%. He's kind of supported Trump on whatever position. Like some of those positions are like, Hurricane Harvey relief, Puerto Rico, relief in Puerto Rico, the Ravens raising the debt ceiling. So most of the stuff he did support Trump on makes sense. So it's understandable that they would highlight that he has been, kind of not just anti-Trump, but policy positions he hasn't signed on to the most ridiculous things, kind of the things that we talk about. But probably the most important thing, and it wasn't highlighted by you, it's highlighted by Gregory Meeks. You didn't highlight that.
Didn't highlight it at all.
We weren't holding him to that.
No.
Gregory Meeks mentioned that.
Yes.
So now, since Gregory Meeks mentions that, now we have to kind of question him now. Not Meeks, but Capuano, because that seems to be the most important thing.
That's right. So basically,
criminal justice reform.
So he put Capuano in a category as a civil rights leader. He's a leader on this front. Yet he wasn't interested in the civil rights of regular people, especially black regular people, as in regards to their encounters with law enforcement.
Because if the whole kind of narrative kind of surrounding their support for him is, how he can serve minorities, then I don't know how we can judge Capuano without kind of holding him accountable for that vote.
Exactly.
I don't care if he is anti-Trump. I really don't care.
No, I
don't
don't
care
either.
that he just took this, principled stand, and he didn't go to. I think he was one of the representatives that didn't go to the inauguration.
Oh yeah, good job. Good job. I really care about that. Nah, man, I care about what you did for police officers, for law enforcement. Like, where's the same kind of support for regular people? Like that's what I want to know. Like, if you're a civil rights leader, then there's no way you would have made that vote. There's no way you would have extended your support to that type of bill.
Maybe that would have woke up some of those minority voters in his district to come out and vote.
Maybe.
And like you said, we don't know if Presley was in the same position.
Exactly.
We don't know.
We have no idea because she hasn't commented on that legislation,
yeah,
so we have no idea.
But again, you can't judge her on that, at least.
Can't judge her on it because Capuano was the one that made his support known by voting for that bill. So again, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not that. First of all, I don't even have enough information on this guy to throw him away yet, But the very little that I do, I'm not impressed with. I'm not impressed with at all. Like, there's some policies, of course, he's right, or, that he has the right ideas on. But we always say that when it comes down to it, like when it comes down to actually making your voice heard, like voting on a bill, like it's prime time now, it's game time. Like, what are you going to do? You put you were on the side of law enforcement, and like, I have no problem with supporting like the profession. I have no problem with that. But why extend them even more support when they don't need it? Like, they don't need that. It's already, like we talked about, on the last show, that it's already, like, they're already elevated to a point to where if you assault one of them or if you kill one of them, it's a bigger crime than if you just assault or kill just a regular citizen. So why the need to extend even more protection to them? How about how about we just hold them accountable? Like, this legislation was unnecessary, but you felt it best to lend your support.
That's
I can't excuse that
whole,
man. I can't excuse it.
That whole, tough on crime label. You know what I'm saying? I think that people are, like, representatives are still kind of apprehensive about not supporting anything in regard to law enforcement because they're afraid that they'll get that label that they're not tough on crime. You know what I'm saying? That's not my fault, but that's still on them.
It's so nonsensical, though. It's just like, you have to establish an assault on an officer as a federal hate crime for you to be tough on crime. Like, get out of here, man.
Because essentially, that's not really a crime that's in abundance, actually.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Like,
that's not a crime that's actually in abundance, even though it was, I think, up in 2017. The only reason why it was up is because it was severely down the year before. So it was an entirely unnecessary legislation that did not, like, need to be even put forth because it didn't, like, the necessity wasn't there.
It mentioned kidnapping a police officer. Like, how often does that happen? Are you serious? This was completely unnecessary, but the influence of law enforcement said, politicians, hey, it is necessary. Blue lives matter. We need you to say it.
Blue lives, like they're blue people or some shit.
All right.
Unless I see them pull some dreads out and hook it up to a damn animal, they not blue.
And just another point about that race too. The Democratic senators of Massachusetts, who is Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, they are not supporting anybody in this race, which is interesting. It is interesting because you would think that they would support the guy the guy that is the incumbent has been there for nearly 20 years, but they have not offered.
Yeah, that's weird.
Him their support. So
that's weird.
That is weird. Because again, he hasn't had any significant challenge until now, so you would think that they would come together. Hey, let's keep him in office, but they haven't. So we'll see how it shakes out. We got a few. Let me see.
We got the
got the Young Blood and the
Harley Davidson. Is that the only two?
Yeah, those the only two.
That's the only two. I thought we had some. Oh yeah, there's only two. It's like 907. You want to do both? We can do both.
Yeah,
Shit,
they're not that.
Yeah,
they're not that long.
All right, so let's do the Harley Davidson. All right, so you remember a few months back when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that glorious time when Republicans were selling this vision on how the legislation was all about them? You know, they were going to come out ahead. And even Trump himself, President Trump himself, was saying that, hey, I'm going to get killed on this deal. Like, this is all for the middle class, but I'm going to get killed on this legislation, right? You remember all that? You remember how they said that the cutting taxes, especially for corporations, reducing the corporate tax from 35 to 21%, it would lead to an economic boom, and all these corporations
would just start hiring people up,
just like here,
scooping people
here,
up.
just like handing money out, like bam,
bonuses,
bam,
raises,
bam. All of that, right? You remember that glorious time, right? Okay. Well, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, he even told workers in his home state of Wisconsin, quote, tax reform can put American manufacturers and American companies like Harley Davidson on a much better footing to compete in the global economy and keep jobs here in America. Now, the reason I highlighted that specific quote by Paul Ryan about Harley Davidson is because Harley Davidson has been making some moves after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed. So let's talk about some of these moves, okay? So Harley Davidson, they closed the plant in Kansas City, Missouri, and this meant that about 800 people lost their jobs. Now, some of these jobs were shifted to a facility in Pennsylvania, but overall, about 350 jobs were lost.
Yeah, because all they did was kind of break up the process of manufacturing. Like, yeah, they did, create jobs in Pennsylvania, but they still broke up the factory and like how it processed things. So one process was going to be transferred where?
Is it it says Thailand.
Make Thailand great again.
It says Thailand here, but that can't be right because
Thailand, Missouri?
It has to be because
Thailand, Montana. Is there a Thailand in Georgia? Right? There's a Thailand.
Well, since the facility they moved the jobs to Pennsylvania, it must be Thailand, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
But that is not the case. The jobs are moving overseas to Thailand.
And so I think it's also not just highlighting Harley Davidson, not just one of our representatives highlighting Harley Davidson, but I think the underlying kind of manipulation in highlighting Harley Davidson is because like a lot of Americans view that as like one of the most American companies. Like this is you see somebody on the Harley and you're like people want to wave that flag. That's an American right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. So it should be all about like doing what's best for the American economy. I mean, you're an American company. You wouldn't cut jobs here, right? Especially when you just got a windfall laid on you by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, right?
But see, that's the thing. Like, people are fooled into thinking that these companies actually care about patriotism. Like, they just care about the money going into their pockets. They just kind of use like patriotic imagery and all that as like a ruse to get people to buy their products. Like when people buy all that stuff, they don't care about the American economy as a whole or as a concept. They're not buying that stuff because of that. They're just buying that stuff from those companies. And not just Harley Davidson does that. Like doggone Chevy does it. Car companies do it. Beer companies do it.
Yep.
Grocery stores do it. But yeah, motorcycle companies other than Harley Davidson, they all do it.
Yep.
And so people, these consumers, they don't care about the larger economy in general and whether something's American made.
Not when they're making an individual purchase.
No, they just want to feel better about being a consumer. They just want to feel better about buying things. That's and these companies exploit people's kind of superficial need to feel special about being American.
Mm-hmm. So the jobs that are going overseas to Thailand, Harley Davidson is opening a production facility there. Now they say it's not about, you know, taking the money and cutting and running. No, it's not about that. What they said is that they're doing this to get around the tariffs that President Trump announced that he was going to be implementing on steel. Because that would cost them millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they said. So they're putting that factory there, or that facility there in Thailand, to get around the added costs that Trump, you know, just laid on them. But didn't Trump just help them out? Trump just helped them out, right?
Exactly. So he's helped them out with the cost.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. So those are the couple of things that they're doing. They also did some other things after the legislation was passed too. They bought back stock to the tune of some $700 million, rewarding shareholders. Isn't that? I for some reason I feel like when we talked about this legislation before it was passed, for some reason I feel like we talked about what corporations were going to be doing. And there was even like some event. You remember there was some event where there were a bunch of like CEOs or, you know, business leaders. And there was a question asked like, hey, are you going to reinvest the money into the company? And nobody raised their hands.
Yeah, there was like it was like, I forgot where it was.
I can't remember where it was.
And yeah, it was like a bunch of entrepreneurs and corporate like CEOs and whatnot.
Right.
And I think whoever was talking, I wish I could remember who.
I can't remember who it was.
But yeah, like nobody raised their hand. I was like, and I think he was the person who was answering the question was surprised. Yes. I think he was like, yo, that was y'all's cue. Yeah. Like, damn, like at least like
just fake it.
Like you fake it. Exactly. Or like at least 5 of y'all.
But see, we knew what was gonna happen. One, the corporations that are barely paying any taxes anyway were gonna go to where they were going to get a rebate. If they weren't already getting a rebate, they were going to buy back stock. They were going to send jobs over. I mean, like, we already knew what the game was.
Like, I don't want to blame Trump for something that has always been going on, you know, since before he became president. But we can't let him off the hook here.
Nah.
Because he still takes a hit for being disingenuous about what the tax bill would do as far as job growth.
He lied.
Well,
I'm going to take a hit. Oh, it's going to kill me.
Not just like
Came
how
away
it's going to affect him, but how it's going to affect job growth and what these companies are going to do. So yes, not going to sit there and blame him for this kind of economy that ships our jobs away, because that's been going on. But again, he kind of co-signed all that too, so he does take a hit just for co-signing it, and like his promises to his base are not being fulfilled, so he should take a hit for that. Because I'm saying, because he promised all these jobs, these perks, you know, just jobs just magically appearing and people snatching these jobs up, and that's actually not happening, and definitely not happening in this case. So that's why he takes a hit. And
see, there's a long history in this country of cutting taxes and it leading to a non-economic boom. Not just in, you know, not on just a national scale, but on a state level as well. We covered. We cover multiple states where teachers were striking because like education was poorly funded and their salaries were poorly funded, right? So in a lot of these states, it was because of tax cuts going to the richest people and the richest corporations. And it was advertised like it was supposed to lead to some like great economic situation, but that never came to pass. So we have a long track record of cutting taxes, not being in the best interest of the middle class or just for the economy in general. But people like Trump keep selling that lie and people keep buying into it because what? You want to believe him? What? Because he believes in building the wall.
Because it believes in America first. Because he believes that, or he tries to sell this idea that it's the the nasty animals that are coming into this country.
Because you believe Mexicans are the enemy,
destroying everything. Muslims are bringing the value of our country down.
So because he believes all those things, then I guess you believe that as well. You believe that tax cuts are actually going to lead to a better overall situation for this economy.
They must have forgot that their candidates' policies are going to affect them too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're going to affect the rest of us and those who you look down upon, but that same candidate's policy. Yeah, exactly. And what did you say? What did you say?
I had it in my mind just a couple minutes ago too. The pain is coming.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, the pain is already here. The pain is already here.
Oh, but it's gonna get worse.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna get worse.
What do you think that's gonna actually cause people to wake up? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know.
No, I don't actually. I wish I could say
I don't,
yes.
I don't blame you for thinking that.
Yeah,
man.
I wish I could say
I don't
yes,
blame you
man.
for thinking that, man.
All right, so we got one more story. This should be quick. So on Sunday morning in Albuquerque, New Mexico, State Representative Monica Youngblood was arrested for a DWI. And while it is newsworthy that a state official, a state assemblywoman, was arrested for drunk driving, it's not exactly national news. What makes this story relevant is the things that she said to try to get out of it, to try to come away from this situation without any charges.
It exposed maybe a perspective she had. She unintentionally exposed herself.
Yeah,
in some other areas.
I don't think she intended to reveal what she did reveal. So, there was there's some video of this, and we have maybe about a minute of footage. But basically, so she was stopped. And she was explaining to the officer that she had a fight with her boyfriend and she was just trying to get home. But the officer, I guess, noticed that she was weaving or something like that. Pulled her over, conducted some field sobriety test. And, he was, and then it led to her being arrested because the field sobriety tests are not pass or fail tests. They look for certain type of cues that will tell them that somebody is probably inebriated. So with that, let's show the video and then we'll talk about the language that she used.
So the tests that you just did, Monica, they're not pass or fail tests. They're just certain clues that I look for, okay, that measure impairment, okay? So what needs to happen now is I need to give you the opportunity to do a breath test, okay? Depending on the results of that breath test is how we go from here, okay? So I need to place you under arrest for DWI. So go ahead and turn around for me and place your hands on your back.
No.
Yes, turn around and place your hands behind your back. Turn around and place your hands behind your back. You have had alcohol. I can smell alcohol, and my test show. Okay, well then, when you decide to take the breath test or not, then that'll show that.
No, I'm not gonna.
Well, it's up to you. If you don't want to do the test, then I can't force you to. There are penalties, but I'll redo that when we get over there.
I literally fight for you guys every.
Well, that doesn't make it okay to drink and drive.
I'm not drinking and driving.
Okay.
Seriously.
Well, then once we do the breath test, it'll show.
I fight for you guys every time I get the chance. So many people tell me that you guys treat people like a shit, and I didn't believe it.
I'm not treating you poorly at all.
I just want to be able to fight my tests.
Well, I can't take you out of handcuffs right now at this very moment just so you can wipe your face.
You guys treat people of color like shit, and I always stand up for you guys.
Aww.
You guys, it's that annoying cry. It's not that kind of cry where you feel bad for somebody. It's that kind of cry where you want to be you want to mush them in their face.
Yeah, would you stop it? My gosh. But okay, so towards the end of that video, she was making some comments. I think you were able to hear it, but if you didn't, I'll repeat some of the things that she said. So she said, I literally fight for you guys. I fight for you guys every time I get the chance. She said, so many people tell me you guys treat people, or so many people tell me that you guys treat people like shit. And then that's when he was like, well, I'm not treating you like shit, right? And then she amended her comment. She said, so many people tell me that you guys treat people of color like shit, and I always stood up for you.
So first, like, I think it's funny that I think just looking at the dude's body cam, it wasn't even necessary for him to do any breathalyzer or necessary for him to do a little sobriety test with the motor skills.
Yeah.
It was obvious that she was drunk.
Yeah.
It was obvious that she was drunk. But I did think it was kind of interesting, like you highlighted, what she tried to use as some sort of bonding agent. You see what I'm saying? Like, I
support you.
I support you. Like, you know, even though, you know, you might find yourselves in situations that may lead people to believe you don't treat people of color the same and equally. Yeah. I stand up for you. Like, wow. First of all, she's supposed to stand up for everyone. You
as a representative.
As a representative, not just people that can do favors for her, but I guess she's a legislator, so she's used to that mindset, huh? Doing, you know what I'm saying? Like standing up for people that can do favors for her.
This chick is literally... This woman is literally every single person in America that supports law enforcement to no end, even in the face of, you know, audio recordings or video recordings where you see police brutality, where you see escalation, where you see officers just executing bad policing techniques. In the face of all that, people like Monica Youngblood will sit there and say, hey, well, you know what? I support law enforcement, you know, because she told on herself. She said, hey, people tell me all the time that you guys treat people of color like shit. I still support you. Really? Why would that have you still support them when you see all of this evidence where it should change your mind and get you to the point where you are actually criticizing law enforcement, or at least criticizing these individual officers that are involved in this bad policing? But no. Your support is actually, it's immeasurable.
Was that kind of like a loose dog whistle though? Because it was like, I'm racist just like you, so help me out. Like, I, you know, protect you when you fuck up. So how about you protect me in this particular fuck up of mine?
Yeah. Hey, you know, I do for you, man. I got your back.
I look
man.
the other way when y'all fuck up, so look the other way.
Exactly.
Look the other way at this time.
Let me off, man. I'm one of your biggest supporters out here. Even when you kill people of color, I still got you.
But so again, what is she doing? She's trying to get out of it. So when somebody is trying to get out of something, they like offer something. Like that would be considered a bribe, right?
Yeah. That was a bribe, actually. It was.
I was about to say it was essentially as a bribe. And what was she using it as the bargaining chip? She was using other people's lives as the bargaining chip, in my opinion.
Because this is not just some regular person. She's a state legislator.
She was bargaining with people's lives so she can get out of a tight spot.
Right.
That's essentially what she was doing. She was saying, hey, I'm going to protect you at all costs, regardless of whether you're wrong or right, if you do this favor for me. So essentially, she was bargaining with people's lives to get out of a pickle she put herself in. And I think she actually, as a legislator, pushed for harsher penalties for DUIs.
She did. I believe she also... she was supportive of mandatory breath tests, like, you know, doing the breathalyzer in DWIs as well, but she declined to take that test.
Rules for you,
yes,
but not for me.
Yep. That's privilege right there. Well, that's very privileged.
Right,
and see, when something happens in New Mexico involving an officer, and maybe an officer brutalized a New Mexico citizen, which side is she gonna be on, huh? Maybe, what if some new legislation pops off, you know, trying to actually hold officers accountable? You think she's gonna sign up for that? No. And you know, she's still actually saying that like she did nothing wrong. She wasn't actually drinking and driving or anything like that. She sent a statement to KOB TV in Albuquerque saying, quote, as a legislator, I have always taken drinking and driving seriously. While I regret the situation altogether, I most definitely regret not taking the breathalyzer test. I look forward to bringing this matter to a swift and just conclusion.
Yeah, that's completely your fault. You could have ended all this from the jump. Like, there's a reason why she didn't want to take that breathalyzer test.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, she's speaking upon very, very, very closed ears.
You telling me that you didn't have nothing to drink, but you refused the breathalyzer?
Exactly.
Really? So you tell you am I to believe that a law enforcement individual would like phony up some evidence or just put you in jail unjustly?
Yo, and he was being like,
if you took the breathalyzer and you didn't register any reading,
and he was being pretty calm. She tried to say that like he was being like rude in some way.
Yeah, because she was like, well, she intimated that she was being mistreated.
Like, yeah, that's right. That's what the word she used. And he was like, no.
I'm not mistreating you, Monica. He was like saying, no, Monica. Like the whole video.
No, actually, I almost sounded like he was talking to a child. That's what it sounded like. He was talking to a child.
But like I said, man, she is every single person in America that has this unlimited support for people that wear that shield. Like, you know, they're filled with the utmost integrity. They can do no wrong, even if we see that they do wrong.
Even if it's on camera.
All right.
So now there's like actually two issues that she has now. She has been seen like pretty much being a hypocrite.
Yup.
And like, you mean to tell me she had to drink and drive? Probably not. So she was seen being a hypocrite. She was seen trying to use her position of power to get out of a situation. Actually, there's another thing. And also, she kind of unmasked her lack of compassion for people who have been abused by cops.
That's right. So, as a state representative, how could she actually ever represent these people? How could she ever advocate for her constituency when we saw what happened on that video recording? Because she's going to sell you out every time.
You know what she's probably going to say? She's probably going to be like, oh, I was just bullshitting. I was just trying to do whatever I can to get out of that situation.
You know the only thing that she could say? I was drunk.
Oh, blame it on the alcohol.
But she wasn't drinking.
Boy, she's got herself in a bind.
Yep, rocking hard place, man. You ain't got no way out, man. And there's already been some talk about, because she's a Republican. There's already been some talk, of course, by the Democrats saying that she needs to lose her position, and I believe Mothers Against Drunk Driving, I believe, was like they're disappointed in her. I believe
she was endangering people's lives, essentially.
Yeah, man.
She was endangering people's lives.
But you can't be, and just my opinion, man, you can't be a representative when you're clearly going to sell out your constituency.
She just admitted she takes sides, regardless of the situation.
Regardless of something improper happening to your constituency, I'm taking the side of law enforcement. So basically, every time. I back you up all the time.
That's an example of that she cannot serve people. She cannot serve the group of people she's supposed to be.
Because she can't be objective. She won't be objective. It ain't really even about if she can be objective. She won't.
And she said she wasn't going to be.
That's right. She made the decision here on this subject, on law enforcement. I will not be objective. I will lend you my support every time.
Imagine if she just took the breathalyzer and then got taken away for drunk driving. I guarantee this thing probably would have blown over.
Probably.
Blown over. I'm not saying it would have completely left her, but I don't think it would have been as big of an issue.
Those words
could have gotten covered up.
Those words that she uttered, eye-opening. We already knew it, but thanks for telling us.
Thanks for confirming.
Exactly. All right, so we got done with everything that we set out to talk about tonight. So that's good. So we're going to open it up for calls now so that we can get some other voices on this program, see what you have to say about anything that we talked about today, or maybe something else that's popping off and you want to, make some noise about. So the number to call in is 669-900-6833. And let's set this up.
Blame it on the goose. Got you feeling loose.
About the NFL story too, about the national anthem policy. I saw that there were already, like, you know, it's unconfirmed. You know, I don't know if any players have come out to say it, but it's been reported that there are already several players talking about what they're gonna do next. Like, okay, we're not gonna kneel anymore, but we're gonna do something else on the field. It's not done, man.
They think it's done because they think it's done because they made it a rule.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, whatever, you know, fines they think are going to cripple these players, I think there's going to be some players that are going to be willing to deal with a fine. Because I'm like, y'all pay them millions of dollars. So unless you make these fines like extraordinary and ridiculous, then yeah. That's funny though. But you're right. This ain't over. It's going to be
not over.
It's I can't wait for the preseason. Not for football either. Not even for football.
Yeah.
But because I don't think I watched a game last season. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Mine's still beeping.
Is it?
Yeah, mine's still beeping.
All right, let me get it. Because I gotta turn yours on first, I think. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me just connect it. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. All right, that should be good. All right, so let's set this up. Hopefully we're gonna be still on. Yeah. Hadn't tried that before on like on this setting.
Not on this like live setting. So this is the first time we've tried to activate the Bluetooth with this live setting. So
yeah, I think we still on. We still here? Everybody still with us? I think everybody's still with us. All right. Nope. Yeah. Don't do that. I'm about to cut the computer off.
Yeah, let us know if y'all can, you know, still see and hear us.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm interested in what they're gonna do next, man. Is it gonna be the fist? You know, because that's simple. That goes back in history. You know,
because that's the thing. It specifically says, you know, it's so funny. They weren't even smart enough to kind of. They weren't smart enough to include other acts. They just said kneeling.
Just kneeling. You have to stand.
You have to stand.
Okay, I'll stand.
I'll stand. It doesn't say I can't do something while I'm standing.
You know the Mets fan that was at the Yankees game? The meme?
Yeah.
He just sitting there like this.
That. That's what I'm saying. It just says stand. He didn't say they couldn't do anything.
Exactly.
It just said kneel. So
that actually be even more disrespectful. Doing that
or doing like a fist. You know what I'm saying? So that's funny. That's funny.
Who's asking about them Jets?
That's Grandma Christine.
Jets that did what? The Jets, and on this conversation, the Jets were the ones that the acting owner said that he would take the brunt of any fines levied against the team or the players. Well, not against the players, against the team because of any kneeling, any protests or anything like that.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty interesting because it's like that's pretty easy to manipulate. I can stand up and do something.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, man. I can stand there. I can do something else. I don't have to be on my knee. I wonder what they come up with, man. Because, man, there's been backlash far and wide about this new policy, man. This was so unnecessary, and it was just a capitulation to Donald Trump, I think, man.
Not just Donald Trump.
I know what you mean, but I'm saying, like, it was Trump that spurred it. You know what I'm saying? He brought so much attention to this. So it's like, and there's even been reports that like these owners are scared to death of Donald Trump. They're scared because of what he might say and what he might get fans to think and try to tune out the NFL or whatever, man. They're scared. They're bitches.
No, they are. They are. They lack principle, man. They have no integrity, man.
No, man. Not at all. Not at all, man.
Don't see nobody calling. Usually we have a call by now.
Okay, so there this wasn't going to be something that it's interesting to highlight. Sharita Dixon Cole, I believe that's her name, right? Sharita Dixon Cole, yeah, the woman that Sean King had talked about.
Oh yeah.
So
that's right.
Sharita Dixon Cole is a woman in Texas who it was reported, notably by Sean King, that she was arrested by an officer, and the officer arrested her because he didn't like her attitude, and then he was saying that if she wanted to get out of it, he would let her go if she had sex with him. And, he would put his hand up her dress or in her pants or whatever like that. He was, violating her in that way. This happened a number of different times. And finally he just got frustrated with her and then, took her to jail. So this was communicated to everybody by Sean King. And then, she had an attorney as well that was, saying the same thing. Of course, we didn't report on this because we never report on things like that, because if we don't have verifiable details,
she was just kind of, this is the message that came from her.
Yes, solely
from jail,
and communicated through her, or I guess through Sean King, but by her. But again, she's in jail at this time. We don't got no video evidence or anything like that. This is just a story. It sounded really busted. I mean, it sounded really tragic and man, my goodness, if this is real, man.
But because there were no actual sources, no verification.
That's a story that we never, ever,
I didn't want to touch that.
Nah. So then, and see, another case where a police department is like, we want to be transparent.
Immediately. I mean,
with the quickness, we want to be transparent. We want to let all the people here in Texas know what happened. Unlike in Milwaukee where, there was some real improper behavior going on. We're going to sit on this footage for 4 months. Nah, our officers in the right, so we're going to release it. So the video footage came out. It's about 2 hours of footage. I saw most of it. I skimmed through, some parts, but I saw most of it, and so did most other people too, including Sean King and the attorney that was representing her, and it didn't show anything.
And he even, wrote a lengthy article,
very lengthy,
detailing, I guess the falseness of the story.
Right.
So he did kind of, he did his job as far as a journalist go,
right,
and offered an extensive redaction. It wasn't just a couple words. It was an entire article.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, unfortunately, Sean King was the victim of somebody who wanted to exploit his passion for a cause.
No doubt.
And I think sometimes he is so hypersensitive to this issue, he's just going to willing to go to bat for people. And I think, this person, what's her name?
Sharita Dixon Cole.
Just kind of exploited that drive of his to fight for people. So unfortunately, he should kind of.
Yeah, he jumped the gun. That was the problem. He jumped the gun on this, and like Mike was saying, he's a leader on this front. Abuses by law enforcement individuals. He's a leader here. He spreads those stories.
He's like a bloodhound.
Exactly.
On those stories, man.
And he makes sure, even with the Aaron, as you call him, Schlossberg, he was the one that was like, hey, we need to get this guy's name, and then 2-3 hours later we had his name, and that's everything.
So it looks like for the most part he dots his I's and crosses his T's, verified stuff. But
on this one, he moved way too quickly. This is something that, as somebody that's out there and as you have a voice, you have a platform, and you're trying to do good, man. You're trying to spread the news and keep people informed of the abuses that are happening in this country. Man, you got to be careful and make sure that you have all the facts, all the details, man. Because if
people are looking to discredit him left and right. I see it all the time, and of course that Blue Lives Matter website just picked this up And
of course they would.
And they have a personal vendetta against Sean King. I've seen I've been on that website a few times and seen some articles, and obviously in the comment section they have a personal vendetta against him. And there are people out there who will ignore the thousands of cases where abuse and law enforcement corruption has taken place. They will ignore thousands of cases and say that those cases don't mean anything. Those cases don't paint any kind of picture. Those cases don't say anything about law enforcement, even though they're blatant in our face. No. All they need is one case of a false accusation being proven.
That's right.
And that changes the narrative. Regardless of what other cases exist that are true, all they need is one case. That one case somehow paints a picture. Yeah. That one case provides a narrative that we should all believe.
Yeah, and then the regular people will just pounce on that one case too and be like, see, they're good cops, see, and you're just trying to demonize them and just trying to attack them, and look at this poor officer and blah blah. In this case, yes, man, this officer was a victim, no doubt, man. He was a victim of some just scandalous, some scurrilous, just some just very hurtful words, like I believe his name was thrown out there. There's been some talk like, he was getting death threats or something like that. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but still, I mean, like, that was totally wrong. You can't, you put this officer in a compromising position to where, like, he can't even come out and say anything. You know what I'm saying? He has to stay quiet until this video comes out. So it's like, you can't do that. Like, if you're about truth and justice and actually doing something for this country and moving this country along and actually getting to a place where we have criminal justice reform and just benefiting everybody else, it's like, you can't do this, man. You just can't do it.
Because there are a lot of people out here sitting on the edge of their seats and kind of rubbing their hands together, waiting for a fuck up to give themselves a conscious excuse, I guess, to ignore legitimate claims of abuse. Not just like ongoing ones, but ones in the future too. They just want to give themselves an excuse, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man. So yeah, just Sean King, man. He does good work, man, straight up.
Yeah.
So he just needs to be more careful, man. Just don't come out so early, man. I know he has more resources than we do, no doubt, but definitely should take the same approach that we do. If you don't have all the details, man, don't spread it. Maybe you could say, hey, there's some case out here. Nah, you know what, with his platform, he can't do that because even if you intimate it, it's like you're saying it. You can't do that
based off of his level of influence.
Yeah, you can't do it.
And shout out to Marsha Smith for handing some of that cash over to us. We appreciate that. Giving us some super chat dollars. Thank you, Marsha Smith.
Yeah, so she asked about what's happening with Nico House in Florida. Not really.
I know. Only thing I know is about something about him, like maybe losing his place.
Yeah, something about like police harassment, but I thought I was in Georgia, maybe, or something like that.
I don't know the details behind it, so you might I might have to go fill myself in at some point, or you can fill us in. So, oh, you punking out, Marsha?
What's she say?
She said I could call in, but I just have to admit that I don't want to. Man, Marsha.
So let's see.
I don't think when we were talking about the midterms, I don't think we mentioned the thing about Cuomo at the convention with Cynthia Nixon.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, Andrew Cuomo, he became the I guess
the party choice.
Yeah, he became the party choice for the New York State Democratic Party. He won the endorsement or whatever
of the party. What was the percentage
of the delegates?
Keyword keyword delegates.
Delegates. He won with 95% of the vote.
Wow.
95%.
But are you surprised though?
Absolutely not.
I'm not surprised.
Party insiders. That's what chose this whatever this is.
So she didn't get enough. She didn't get enough of a percentage.
Yeah, she had to get 25%
to get automatically put on the ballot.
So now
she has to collect signatures.
15,000 signatures so that she will be put on the ballot. Which I don't think that's gonna be a problem for her.
Nah, she's in New York.
Yeah, and she sent the annexion.
And she sent the annexion. Like I said, she could walk around the block and get that.
She can probably get that done in
a couple. Yeah,
like a few hours, man. Yeah. It's not gonna take that much time. So yeah, she will be on the ballot. But no doubt that was the New York establishment saying, "Get the hell out of here." Like, you don't belong here.
Oh, that was a message. That was sending a message. I'm pretty sure they were being objective, right? I'm pretty sure they were being objective.
My God.
They judged those two potential
fairly. Very fairly. Yeah, because Cuomo is 95% better. Yeah, no doubt, man. 95% of the vote.
There's got to be something wrong, man. Nobody calling that? There's got to be something wrong. I didn't know that. Marshall said he has had a lot of run-ins with the police and has been beaten up. I didn't know any of that. I think I just saw him do a live show.
Yeah.
Didn't watch it all, but yeah, I just saw him do a little live show. But
I saw some little. Well, I mean, I don't even say little, but I saw some controversy with Our Revolution.
That
what's her name? Teslin, somebody.
A Politico.
No,
not that one.
Well,
oh, you mean okay? No,
I think she shared it, but it really wasn't about that. But she was actually Nina Turner's. I don't know. Like, she was on the staff. Like, she was part of Nina Turner's staff in Our Revolution, and her name is Teslin something, but she had said something about illegal immigrants.
Oh yeah,
on Fox News or something like that.
No. It's not just Fox News.
Yeah.
She's been going on Twitter rages about immigrants and how black people should approach immigrant or the immigration issue, and talking about how taking jobs, black people shouldn't advocate or vouch for immigrants until we get ours. And she said something like a black person wouldn't be able to commit a crime for 20 years and get away with it.
Yeah, she was also
talking about undocumented people being here for a long time.
Yeah, she was talking about all these because she say illegals, she's saying illegal immigrants, that's that conservative language right there. And she says how they're getting all this free stuff. They're not paying taxes and they're getting all this free stuff.
She's progressive on everything else, but this issue is just she's talking like some doggone alt-right person. It's crazy.
And not just that they're getting free stuff. She said that they're getting free stuff that regular Americans are not getting. I'm like,
how is she even
what are you talking
involved
about?
in Our Revolution and maintain positions like that?
I don't know.
But
apparently she was on
Tim Black.
Yeah, she was.
I saw that too, and I will say I love my boy. I love him, but he's hit or miss for me, man. And I watched a little bit of that interview, and I was quite disappointed
because you know what he kind of excuses. Yeah, he kind of excuses.
He didn't just excuse it. He co-signed. Now, I think I know why he does that, but it's still not acceptable because he still wants to keep that person engaged and doesn't want that person to shut down so he can have a very constructive interview. He doesn't want that person to shut down. But there was a moment where he actually co-signed a bit on those immigrant perspectives by talking about jobs.
I know.
You saw that part where he highlighted
the way you talk.
The way he highlighted him or his
not good.
He highlighted something about something his father or grandfather told him about construction, and it sounded like he was co-signing on what she was saying. I was like, nah, Tim, man, come on, bro.
See, these are the when you talk to individuals, and I'm not gonna put her in a box or anything like that. I'm just saying when you talk to somebody where you're on the other side of, you can't have it look like you're agreeing with her. And there were some times I believe he was saying that I'm not saying I agree with her, but it was just that you weren't you weren't really making the case that she was wrong.
But if you're trying to relate to her, then to me
then
that's
it's you're co-signing. It wasn't good. All right, we got a caller here. We're gonna pick this call up. Oh, hold on, let's see. All right, caller, you are with us on LTMB Live. I believe this is our man Court. What's going on?
You think so?
I think so.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah, man. What's going on, man?
Jose.
What's going on, man? Is this the same? This is like the same 443. What's going on,
How
man?
you doing, man? I think this is your first time calling. This is your first time calling in, man, right?
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for calling in, man. What's on your mind? Shoot up, man. Oh, is that right? All right. Okay. Well, it would be it would be them, or I guess it would be them or like the Raiders or the Jets that would do something like that, since, well, the Raiders and the 49ers, like, they were like, well, we don't want any part of this vote. So yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Really?
Dang.
Huh. All right. That's interesting. That's interesting. So yeah, they don't want to talk about Kaepernick. Yeah. Yeah. Because we talked about that meeting that the players had with the owners, and how the players, some of the players were bringing up Kaepernick, and it was like the owners did not want to have anything to do with that. They kept changing the subject, and they just don't want to talk about it. All right, man. Appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, that was good to
Jose
hear
from
Jose,
Maryland.
man. I think that's the same area code.
No, it's the same area code. You're right.
Yeah,
But
okay.
that's why.
All right. That's all I look at, area code. So yeah, I didn't notice. That is very interesting. I would love to know the results of that survey and what the people said about whether Kaepernick should be in the league, and I would love to see the results of that. Oh shoot! You couldn't hear caller? They couldn't hear you? Why wouldn't they be able to hear?
I don't know.
Cannot hear caller.
No. See about her. There's no way she would, unless they heard us.
Huh? Jose speak. We can't hear the caller. Oh, so they could kind of hear. Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we were talking to somebody. There was a couple of comments asking us whether we were just messing with y'all, and no, we weren't. There was a caller. It was Jose from Maryland, and he was.
What is this? Why would this be all the way down here? Hold up, this is for the mic though, isn't it? Yeah.
That's just a test though. I don't know. Wait, you can't move it.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh no, you have to unclick that check, unclick it, and then see that it moves then. Yeah.
But that's just for the mic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why wouldn't they be able to? Okay, we couldn't hear him.
That has to do with audio coming in though.
All right, you know what? Let's let me put on some music real quick and see if they could hear it.
Put this one. Let me see. Yeah, see? You should be able to hear that. We see all the,
Yeah, let us know if y'all can hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be able to hear that. I wonder why they couldn't hear the caller. Well, that's disappointing. But anyway, Jose had a good call. He was just telling us about,
giving us some more some updates or some additional information about NFL kneeling policies across the league.
Yeah, there was a Yahoo article he was talking about, and where the owners back last year had asked to have a survey done about fans, what they thought about whether Colin Kaepernick should be in the league or not. But when it came time for this, these collusion hearings or whatever like that, they didn't want to share that information. So that's very interesting.
That's very telling.
Yeah, they heard the music.
Yeah, something is off. Again, it could be, like we said, we didn't know what to expect because we are in a slightly different environment tonight as far as the live feed goes.
What else is popping off, man? What's going on this weekend? What is going on this weekend? The royal wedding is done. Don't have nothing to look forward to.
Man, I'll just be probably gonna be working, man. I don't know. Working and maybe catching up on some of the TV shows that I've been missing. Cause I do my joint in spurts, man, because
you don't got the time.
I don't got the time. I can't even do binge watching like I used to, man.
Yeah.
Like when I first started watching The Walking Dead, I didn't even know about it. A good friend of mine came to my job with, talking to me, and he told me about it, and I watched the whole first season and a half. But I can't do that no more, man. I don't got time for that. But I just gotta catch stuff as it's coming. It's already in the second season, but I've only caught one episode. I was only able to watch one episode of the season premiere.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
But yeah, I just started back with that. I don't know, what else am I watching now? I was watching something sci-fi genre show. It was called The Expanse.
Never heard of that.
What else am I watching? Fear the Walking Dead. I'm watching that because Walking Dead, the original, just stopped. I don't know. I don't think I'm watching anything else, man. I don't got time for anything else. You know what movie that I did not like, man? This is old shit. Cause I didn't watch it when it first came out. Did you ever see that movie, Dear White People?
I don't think so. Not good?
No, I didn't like it, man. It was whack.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
It was whack.
It
wasn't what people made it out to be either, especially like a lot of bigots. They got mad because of the name of the movie, not realizing they didn't know that they thought the movie was going to be like, Dear White People. Like, we hate it when, it actually was nothing like that at all. It was just actually, the movie was named after a radio show one of the college students had called Dear White People, which was named after a blackface party one of the white fraternities wanted to put on. It was called Dear White People, and they, it was, like I said, I wasn't really impressed, man. It was just too many. It was too exaggerated, and it was there's so many cliche stereotypes. So it was over exaggerated, man. But yeah, I was not impressed, man. It was whack to me.
I'm seeing right now that there was a shooting in Oklahoma City restaurant, Louis restaurant. There was a shooting. Man walked into the restaurant, opened fire with a gun. 2 people were shot. Says that an armed citizen gunned down the shooter and killed him.
Yeah, Gene, I know it's on Netflix because they made a damn TV show, and I ain't watching that shit. I am not watching that shit because that movie was whack. Yes, first Scorpio. I do watch Atlanta. I watch that. I always catch that. I think the second season is very different. I think the first season was supposed to like set the tone and set the main plot and kind of like, I guess, give the viewer kind of a I don't know, like I guess a beat on like what all the characters were about, like what struggles they were facing, just the basic kind of character development. But second season is like extensive character development, where some of the episodes are devoted to one person. So yeah, I like the second season too. It's a bit different. A lot of Easter eggs in some of his stuff too. A lot of symbolism in his shows. But yeah, I watch Atlanta. I like it.
Oh my gosh, though.
What happened?
In Malaysia, Australian woman was sentenced to death by hanging because of drug smuggling charges. That's like a mandatory death penalty because she was found in possession of 1.1 kilos of crystal meth. Good damn, though.
Ain't that what Trump want to do? Trump want to kill all the drug users and drug dealers, so that's right up his alley, man. I wonder if he's gonna like, praise that.
Yeah, so it won't just be the Philippines he's praising.
It'll be Malaysia.
He's got Malaysia to talk about now.
Yeah. See, no, I don't see anybody in the thing either. No, nobody's there. Oh gosh, first Scorpio, you telling the truth on that one. That damn Teddy Perkins messed me up. That jump messed me up. It was brilliant because I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know whether it was just this dude with whatever that skin condition is called, just being crazy. But when I saw that blood on the keyboard, I was like, man, what's going on? But yeah, that doggone Perkins, that jump messed my head up. I know it messed what's his face? Darius. That jump, I know it messed him up. That was the weirdest episode of Atlanta, both one and two. But season 2 is just a little bit funnier in my book because they introducing other characters and they're concentrating on people specifically. That's why I like season 2. Season 1 was just kind of like broad.
Oh yeah, Memorial Day is coming on Monday.
To me, man, like these days don't mean nothing to me, dog. Like Memorial Day, 4th of July, President's Day, that shit don't mean anything to me, man. If I have a chance to hang out with family, I will. But other than that, I'm not like looking at that day.
That's why, I never know when it's coming. I never know.
I don't. If I wasn't on the internet all, you know what I'm saying, or watching anything on TV, then I wouldn't know what's coming up, man.
It's gonna be a regular day. I don't. But anyway, I think we're gonna get out of here. It's after 10.
Yeah, it's about 10. It's 10.
And the Golden State Warriors should be playing Houston Rockets. I'm not even watching the game. Not even watching it. I'm not watching.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna watch it either, man.
I might check the score at halftime.
Oh no, I'll be periodically checking the score, but I ain't gonna invest no time and sit in front of no damn TV.
I couldn't even, I didn't even watch Well, I watched a little bit, but I couldn't watch like Sports Center or any talk about the NBA because I know it's gonna leave. Because like these dudes was like, man, yeah, we let one slip away, and man, I wish I had that last possession back. Like, man, get out of here. You severely underperformed, man. Like, if they didn't underperform, fine. But it was like a rec game. That's what they were playing like. It was a recreational game, some exhibition. Anyway, then I gotta check my Yankees. Gotta check the Yankee score. You know what? I think we got some haters in the chat too. So let me see. Let me see how them Yankees doing. Who? Hater over here too.
I don't be hating on the Yankees, man.
Yankees
ain't
care. Playing. See, Yankees ain't playing. But Boston is getting, I won't say shellacked or anything. They losing by 3 the 9th inning, so that's good. That's always good. It's always good. can't believe this mother had me with a damn Boston umbrella up in Philly.
Man, this mother will not let this go, y'all. I'm telling you, this mother will not let this go. We have a Yankee fan over here, a severe Yankee fan.
Had me on live stream.
Look. We went to the convention, right? DNC in Philadelphia, 2016. It was rainy, right? I had 2 umbrellas. Naturally, I had the one that was closer. But I'm not gonna let my man get wet. So I gave him an umbrella. But it was a Boston Red Sox umbrella. It wasn't even mine. It was an umbrella I found. Nobody claims. So I was like, I'll take it. I'll always use more, umbrellas for people in your car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're taking people places. You know what I'm saying? You can always use more umbrellas. So I kept it in the car. So I just grabbed the first one up, put it up. The only one that was left was the Boston one. Ain't like I tried to set my man up.
I opened this thing up. I'm like,
he opened it up. It was Boston. So he had to walk around Philly. But nobody cared. Ain't nobody was watching you, man.
It's sacrilege, man.
Ain't nobody was watching you, man.
Can't be repping no Boston Red Sox, man.
This mother will not let this go. This mother still brings it up, and just like I said, he just brought it up. It's almost been 2 years.
It left a permanent mark, man. Oh man, that was 2 years ago, though. Well, almost coming up on 2 years.
Yeah,
damn, it's already July. It's coming on June now.
Because it's June. Because it was.
Yeah, it's like
the end of last week. It was the last week of July.
No, it was on. Was it July or June?
It was July.
It was July.
Because I remember it was
July,
the last Harry Potter book came out.
That's what you remember?
Man, you know how it was.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The last Harry Potter book came out when I got back.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But then when did we come back, on Saturday or Sunday?
I want to believe it was a Sunday. I think it was.
No, I think we went back on. I think it was Saturday.
But hold up, no. Was it a Monday?
No, it wasn't no Monday, dog.
Because when did we go? What was the day that we went? Because we stayed
it was a blur, man.
4 days, maybe 3 days, 4 days.
I think we got there on a Sunday, and we
got there on a Monday.
Oh yeah, because we got there real late, like a damn 5 a.m.
That's right,
and we had to get up.
Yeah, that's right.
That Monday was tough.
That's right.
And of course, I think that's when it rained, right? Oh, it was like Tuesday.
Monday, dog.
Monday, yeah, no. We thought, man.
Oh my gosh, man.
I know. We was like, man, I hope it's not like this all week.
No. We had to walk.
Of course, we didn't bring the umbrellas.
So first of all,
it was when
we parked horribly. we parked horribly because there were the events going down on one side of the park. We parked on the whole entire other side of the park. Yes. What was it?
JFK?
No, it was Franklin FDR Park. Yeah. And we had to walk with gear. Had to walk at least 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
Finally got there. Was able to catch some of some talking.
West,
yeah, Cornell Jill Stein talking.
And they had Mortal Technique was
performing. Mortal Technique. That's right. Yeah, but we probably able to catch about 10-15 minutes of it before the massive monsoon came.
Torrential downpour.
Drenched. Where we couldn't remember, we had a choice: go right, go left. We chose left, go back to the car, which was a long way away, or go right under the bridge.
It was over a mile away, man. It was over a mile. We had to park over a mile away because it was so cramped down there because it was a convention going on.
Made the wrong choice. Made the wrong choice. We should have hightailed it to the right, man. Anyway, man, damn. I mean, it seems like it, a long time ago, but then it doesn't, man.
It's weird how that works, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it just happened, but it feels like it was a long time ago. I feel like it was a world away, man.
You're right, man. It feels like that.
No, I can't even hear it. You can't hear it through this.
I can't either. Which is interesting.
See, I think that's why we couldn't hear a caller. That's never happened before. I wonder if they can hear it.
Why wouldn't we be able to hear it? But we heard a call through this.
We heard a call through this. And so now we're not hearing the music that we can hear through the desktop audio, but can't hear it through the Bluetooth wireless speakers, and it's still on. So yeah, this I told you, man.
It's still on. I wonder if they can hear the music. Yeah, they hear it. Interesting. It's always something new, man. Anyway, appreciate everybody that joined us for this broadcast. We'll be back over the weekend, after the weekend, on Tuesday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you to Jose that called in, being the only caller this go around, and thank you to our contributors today for this broadcast, and Matthew, Gia Randon, and Marsha. Thank you all for supporting us, and just making sure that we can keep going, and continually upgrade this program, man, and invite more and more people in, man. We appreciate it. So with that, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see you in a few days, man. Have a good weekend.